Ah, okay, so I'm live. J.Scott Garibay, we love him. I love him. I'm going to start off with a recommitment to proceed, to start, to travel through, and to end our proceedings in love with our man, J.Scott Garibay. I watched, I had the idea to do this little project of watching J. Scott Garibay communally with people, not to mock, demean, or make fun of J. Scott Garibay, but because I was watching J. Scott Garibay myself. Yo, Hadrian 72. I haven't even finished watching last night's stream yet, lol. It is a commitment. And our boy is not giving us any peace. J. Scott Garibay today uploaded, I shit you not, 14 videos. It may be a strategy. I don't know. I don't want to be obsessional, right? We ended last night's proceedings by drawing the tarot card, that tarot card being the Tower. I looked and meditated upon those two individuals falling from the tower and said to myself, reflected upon, the Jungian archetype and metaphor. Beware of and messaging of, beware of looking too long into the void, for the void will look back. And I have Jonaside with us as well. Jonaside, who's been with me on many a journey, knows of which I speak. Grabbing some. Check Chambers. Check Chambers. What up? You can dance if you want to. What's up? If you know, you know. Where's Patrick Stewart when you need him? Folks, we've definitely entered the feedback loop. And I spoke about commitment to love. I've definitely gotten rambunctious in the last couple of streams. Tim Frey joining us as well. And it got a little bit heated, and I may have gotten a little bit back and forth and personal. And if J. Scott Garibay is watching, I just want to say, I know you have friends, okay? And I tease, but I hope you know that my criticisms are real and true. I'm not going to bullshit you. But that doesn't mean that I ever want you to take, anything that I say like I'm going to try and back off the real personal shit. That's what I'm going to try and say. And I'm going to try and be a little bit more objective and a little bit, you know what I mean? I know you got friends. I know you got friends, but Spooky Bed Hair joining us as well. But yo, my man, J. Scott, if you be watching, I'm not saying you are, but if you be watching, I just want to let you know. You are an evangelical Christian. I take you at your word at that. If you are an evangelical Christian, hey, my brother, when you speak, you are in the mission field. And if it be the case, which I believe you are right when you say, if you will make it, then you got to be making sure that you are not turning away any who may possibly be able to rise above. So I'm going to do my part to be less mean. Can you do your part to be less mean to us? You are constantly calling people ignorant fools, man. And that's why I sometimes get aggravated and angry. Can you listen to me? Can you hear me when I say, it's in the Bible. FYI, in the case you're curious, I believe in reading the spiritual text every day. FYI, in the case you're curious, I counsel my children to read spiritual texts every day. FYI, in case you're curious, me and my children often read a little book you may have heard of known as the Holy Bible. One of my favorite lines, I'm not going to worry about quoting the line, the chapter, or the verse. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a memory spin and say, as steel is tempered by steel, so is man tempered and strengthened by his fellow man. And we all shine on. Can we all make ourselves a little bit better? Tonight, 14 videos. We're going to start from the top and rock to the bottom. It's Game of Thrones out here. You're a big man for proposing a truce. Hey, man. Apparently, I'm a big man for being a big man. Teasing. Blessed be the peacemakers. Peacemakers. Hey. On the topic of TTRPGs in the heyday of such, early 80s. Hey. That's my pie. The time has come for the Piece of the Nerds. Folks, let's get to the videotape. It's already 9:27. This thing is doing these streams at night is affecting my sleep schedule. Let's try and not die. Let's get to it. We are going to be watching things at 1 playback speed normal on my dead mother's. My mom's still alive. We have gotten. How do we order this playlist? I got this. What is this? How do I have this ordered? Hold on. Wait, what? We do it like this. We close that. We do this. We sort by date published. So this is the date. Okay, so these are the videos in the order in which they were published today. So the earliest to the latest. So we're gonna watch these in order. Oh my God. I think this is one that's pertinent to JSG. Matthew 5:22. Hey, listen, you know what? 22, 5, the number of man. 22 is my favorite number. Let me look this up. Hold on. ChatGPT will help me out. It looks like you're referring to a Bible verse, 5:22, but I'll need to know which book of the Bible you mean. Oh, Matthew. I'm sorry. Matthew. Matthew 5:22 reads, "But I say to you that everyone who is angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. Hey, whoever insults his brother will be liable to the council. And whoever says, 'You fool,' will be liable to hell of fire." Hadrian 72, bringing the council to you. Man, This verse is part of Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. Yo, J, man, baby. J, man, baby. Help us, help you, help us. J.Scott, Garibay, come hang out and do a live stream with me. Can we play some D&D 5e or something, man? We play by the most latest rules. The verse where he deepens the moral demands of the law. Here he moves beyond just the commandment, do not murder, from verse 21, to teach that even anger, contempt, and verbal abuse carry serious spiritual consequences. Hey, man, would you like a breakdown of or modern application of this passage? Later on, baby. Remember, J.Scott, Garibay, that when we first started talking, it was because I thought you, me, and Grim Jim were both talking about artificial intelligence at the same time. And I looked it up with ChatGPT. But hey, it's not like I'm not going to disagree with you about the videos we watched today. But I hope you forgive me as I hope to be forgiven by you. I'm not saying I haven't been a douche. I've been a douche. I said some nasty things, right? I said some really nasty things. I have. You got me angry, bro. You got me angry. You get a lot of people angry because you no offense, you're rude and dismissive and you call people fools all the time, bro. And I disagree with you about this Orion Kava thing, but I'll try and do it in a way that's not so douche-tastic. And when you respond to me, which you totally are, bro, you totally are, bro, why not say things like, I got some people that commented on my videos, and one of them is, I got to be honest, said something that I think was a little douche-tastic. Or choose your own words if you think the word douche-tastic is a little bit Kyle Kalinske. We'll get there, folks. Anyway, let me go ahead and share a screen, and we'll get to the bada bing. Okay? Baby, don't pass. Put the Bible verse on the glass so that we all may be edified and learn a thing or two. Am I sharing the screen? I'm sharing the screen. Okay, here we go. Let's go.
Hi, friends. It's your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk.
Okay, the 1.5 I'm wanting to do for the sake of getting through it, but obviously it just makes everything sound like we're on crack, right? It won't work. We'll just be frenetic.
Talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Orion Akaba. All right. So Orion Akaba for the last
fair use, yada yada yada. For those just joining us, the concept is Orion Akaba has been on. Well, we'll get there. You know the score, and if you don't know the score, God help you.
Last 10 years, Critical Role has painted him as a villain, and so
not really, right? We know they haven't really done anything to paint him. They haven't talked about him.
And we rightfully exiled him from he is a Critical Role co-founder. That is not debatable. Like,
it is absolutely debatable. Jay, I got to be honest. We can debate it. I know that you think that's not debatable. It's debatable. People have a difference of opinion to you on this. That makes it debatable.
He is a Critical Role co-founder. Critical Role was co-founded by 9 people. One of those co-founders was Orion Akaba. Okay.
I would have to you'd have to look to them and say, what it is. It's like Spinal Tap. Who are the original members of Spinal Tap? People come and go. They went through drummers like nobody's business. We know that it originally started with a group, like a folk group between Nigel Tufnell and Julian St. Hubbard, right? And then they were joined by the bass player. They were the Fire and Ice. And then you have Derek Smalls, the bass player, kind of in the middle, like Lukewarm Water, Alchemy, right? Forming the central triumvirate nexus. They were essentially the founding members. And then you have like a coterie of people around them. So there were people on the original Spinal Tap record who might be considered founding, but they weren't really the founding members. You know what I mean? It was the original three guys: Derek Smalls, Nigel Tufnell, Julian St. Hubbard. I think I have those names right.
Can't unwrite history and try to deny that, in my opinion. Okay.
In your
All right.
opinion,
So
you conceded.
Critical
It's
Role for
opinion.
10 years has been saying he's a zero. He's not.
They haven't really been saying that. They haven't been saying that he's a zero. I know that you feel that way, but I think that's your feelings.
Not a hero. We had to exile him from the table. The problem is they're like, oh, hey, Orion Akaba is exiled from the table, but his character stays right here. Okay.
No, they only mentioned his character like 3 times post his leaving the game table after 27 episodes. If you are joining us late, here's the thing about J.Scott Garibay. Orion Akaba was on the original 27 episodes of Critical Role. Okay. For various reasons, J.Scott Garibay believes that he was on 72 episodes of Critical Role, and beyond that, believes that he was actually part of the entirety of Critical Role for various reasons that are best known and understood by J.Scott Garibay himself. Yeah.
And he's literally a hero that we're going to write into every episode of Critical Role Alexandria in Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, and in Bell's Hells.
This did not happen. This only happened in J.Scott Garabay's conception of reality. He believes that he has made the point that this has happened and argued the point successfully and made the case that this has happened. I, as an observer who has watched these videos, believe that he has not done so. I believe that he has failed to establish it in anyone's estimation. It is what it is.
But we're not allowing Orion Akaba back. He's a zero, not a hero.
That's his characterization, not the characterization of anyone on Critical Role. I don't believe that that's ever been put in print or verbalized by anyone in Critical Role, though I believe that it has been said by Matt Mercer. No, Orion Akaba is never coming back because he really screwed up. They have problems with him.
Talk about today is this is still happening, and we can understand why Orion should be acknowledged today as a hero and be brought back to the table through the recent Blue Origin all ladies YT 1300 space freighter flight put on by.
Now, it wasn't a space freighter flight. For whatever reason, he's decided to call the Blue Origin passenger capsule a space freighter, which again illustrates, J.Scott Garabay's unique take on reality. I'm going to go ahead and open up another page at the ire of Blue Origin, at the ire of J.Scott Garibay, who I think because he's angry at me, I don't blame him. I was very rude in my, coverage of him so far. Let me do this. And we'll get to a good article. There was a really good article that I saw that just summarized it perfectly. Do 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 do. Ba da 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 da. Do 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 do. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear with me. Da 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 da. Do 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 do. Let da da da. Ba ba boo do. Ba 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 da da. Singing songs to tell you why I'm killing time. Killing time while I'm killing time. That's their actual thing. I just want to see an article about the doo-doo-doo. Gail King and these people that went to space. And I just want to look at an article of these people going to space. Doo-doo-doo. And I would have wished that I saved that article because it was a good article. Yada yada da da da. Oh God, damn it! Why did I had this great article, but it just told us all the people that went? Well, we'll just have to make do. All right, hold on. Blue Origin launch. Let's see if that one does it. I know this is killing us, right? Blue Origin. There we go. Let's see if this is it. This will do it. It's whatever. This is one it'll work. Okay, whatever. Hotties with the bodies. Okay, here we go. Now I'm gonna sign into L. Okay, here we go. Anyway, that'll help us. Anyway, yada yada. Thank you.
Jeff Bezos. All right. Okay. So let's get into this. All right. So about a week ago, Jeff Bezos, he built a YT 1300 space freighter, and he's like, I'm going to fill it with women and send them to space, right? And so he put out a call for like, hey, prominent lady women, we're going to put you in space, right?
That's like basically not what happened. That's obviously not what happened. This is just like space tourism. So I looked at, so this is not the first one that they did of this. They've done this before. It's space tourism. We know that Lance Bass has went into space. We know that, the guy from Virgin Atlantic, that guy went into space, I believe. We know that the guy who did those Ultima games, he went like Lord Garriott or whatever went into space. Like rich people go into space, and this guy, Jeff Bezos sent these chicks into space. Like and they go up. It's an unmanned, it's an autopilot thing. They go up on a rocket, and then the rocket shoots off the space taxi with the 13 hotties in it, right? And it's on remote control. So it's like a remote control plane with women in it, right? And they don't do any scientific experiments. They don't do anything on it. They look out a window. It's like a plane ride, but in space. And they go for about 4 minutes, and then they come down like Gus Grissom, and and then they come down and they land. That's it. They don't do any space experiments. They don't have thermometers in their yonis or anything to figure out what the effects are on the individual. Oh, my African American older vagina reacted to space differently than your 25, 30-something-year-old Caucasian vagina. Hey, Dwayne, how's your Asian American vagina looking? Oh man, it reacted to space slightly different than your African American vagina, Gail. Oh wow, it's incredible. We'll give the results to Jeff, and they'll be able to know new things about vaginas in space, and that'll help us get to Mars. None of that shit happened. They just went on space tourism, and that's why it's called performative feminism. And that's why people were upset, because they were like, with the billions of dollars that you wasted and the fuel that you've been, the carbon footprint of that bullshit, you could have been true to your word about scientific exploration, whatever, and you could have given that money to the homeless and the poor people and made a difference on planet Earth. You booze bags, you know what I mean? Fuck yourselves. You know what I mean? That's what it is. And then people apologize for them. We should have been more like hang together as women. Lily Allen apologized. I'm sorry. I talk shit about you online. I'm sorry. Women should get together all times. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Now, one of those women was Amanda Nguyen.
It's pronounced Nguyen. It is the most common Vietnamese last name. It's like their version of Smith. It's very common to mispronounce. It's spelled like Nguyen. In fact, most Vietnamese Americans and Vietnamese Europeans don't even know how to pronounce it themselves. Some people pronounce it Nguyen or Nguyen, that people do, but it's actually Nguyen. I think I watched a YouTube video on it because I thought the person teaching the YouTube video about it was hot.
So I was like, one, I ignored this completely.
I never caught yellow fever until much later in my life. But once I did, oh, baby.
Was happening, right? I was like, and the reason why was I was confused, right? I was like, wait a second. Jeff Bezos is built a YT 1300 space freighter, and
it's not a space freighter. It's this little tiny thing. It's a little shuttle. It's not a space freighter. I don't know why it's coming up with this new word.
He's sending a bunch of people up into space, a bunch of women up into space, and this seems to be upsetting virtually all women, right?
I'm saying virtually all women. We've talked about this before. I don't want to get repetitive. We'll just skip over this, but we're just, the point is this. Here, let me go look at this article. I just want to show you. Here we go. Share the tab instead. Fair use. FY in case you're curious. Here we go. We got it's not that Who is that group? It wasn't Destiny's Child. It was before Destiny's Child. It was that group. Oh God, I forget who they were. But I don't know like what this lineup is, but these are the ladies that went into space, and some of these people basically kind of deserve to go to space. But it's like, look, I mean, this one Nguyen, she did. That's why it pissed me off that I lost the original article. Katy Perry is just Katy Perry, right? Da 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 da. But like one of them, oh, and this is the one, Lauren Sanchez. I think she's the one that's doing Jeff Bezos. Latino women, black women. Here we go. Gayle King. I think she's the one that's Oprah Winfrey's best friend. Not lesbian lover. Stedman's a rock. Aisha Bowie is actually something, she wrote a book about STEM research, I think, and STEM education for women, I think. And Amanda Nguyen is, it's a dream come true for me. It was a dream I deferred. I worked at NASA. She actually worked at NASA. I studied the stars, astrophysics at Harvard and MIT, but life got in the way. Gender-based violence is a big reason why so many women in STEM don't continue on with their training, and I was one of those women. After I was sexually assaulted, I traded my telescope to fight for my rights as a sexual assault survivor. I drafted the Sexual Assault Survivors Bill of Rights, passed it in Congress and at the United Nations, and after 10 years, I was like, I want to honor the person I was before I was hurt. So that's that. So at least she worked at NASA. You know what I'm saying? Like at least she worked at NASA. You know what I mean? And did something related to something regarding this. Unlike, say, Gayle King. Take care, Tim Frey. Listen. I believe Stedman. I believe in Stedman.
A lot of female YouTubers right here complaining about this. Anna Akana and this other cosplay lady. And I saw literally no women celebrating this. None.
Well, we've been over that. Why would they celebrate it? Because, it's performative feminism. You know what I mean? With the exception of Ashley Bowie and Amanda Nguyen, the other people, they're not doing anything. It's space tourism.
Anywhere, right? And I was like, what's happening? Right? Like, women are upset that women are getting sent to space.
And also, let's remember this. No offense, J.Scott Garibay. Your last videos that we watched were you talking about American women destroying American men. So it's one thing if someone is accused of being a flip-flopper because they're making videos one day saying that Marvel Comics are the best. Marvel Comics are the best. Marvel Comics are the best. And then the next day they hop on the bandwagon because, some new DC product comes out and they're all like, DC Comics, DC Comics, DC Comics. I've been down with Tim Miller since Jump Street, right? But you're acting like you're you just accused Critical Role of being performative supporters of, people of color and marginalized, underprivileged classes. But now here you are acting like you're Mr. Feminist when we just know that yesterday we heard you talking about American women destroying American men and causing them to die deaths of despair in the low millions. That's going to catch you some heat, bro. That's going to catch you some heat.
Right. And so basically what happened was that, so I was like, well, why did he send these specific women to space? So I looked at Amanda Nguyen's Wikipedia and I was like, I don't see any reason on that page that would say that lady is needed in space.
You wouldn't, You didn't see any reason why she should go into space? When you looked at her Wikipedia and didn't see why she should go into space. N-G-Y-U-N. Meanwhile, you didn't see any reason. You looked at her I look at an image search, man. You look at her Wikipedia and be like, why should she go into space? Just send her into space just for being her, man. Is an American social entrepreneur, civil rights activist, and bioastronautics researcher. She is the founder and chief executive officer of RISE, a non-governmental civil rights organization. There you go. She drafted the Sexual Assault Survivors Rights Act, a bill that passed unanimously through the United States Congress. Unanimously through the United States Congress. She's also been credited with kickstarting the movement to stop violence against Asian Americans after a video calling for media coverage went viral on February 5th, 2021. She's been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. It was named one of 2022's Time Women of the Year. She received the 24th Annual Heinz Award for Public Policy, Time 100 Next, Forbes 30 Under 30, Top 100 Global Thinker in Foreign Policy. She's featured in the 2022 anthology, We Are Here, 30 Inspiring Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders Who Have Shaped the United States by Naomi Hirahara and published by the Smithsonian Institute. She interned at NASA. She conducted research on exoplanets at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. Stop me when you don't hear anything that means that she should go into space. She served as the Deputy White House Liaison of the U.S. Department of State. She aspired to become an astronaut. Yep. Come on. (2016) Young Women's Honors Award, 2016 Top 100 Global Thinkers, 2017 Women's March Honored Guest and Speaker, 2017 Forbes 30 Under 30, 2017 40 Women to Watch, 2018 the Frederick Douglass 200 List, 2019 Nelson Mandela Changemaker Award, 2019 24th Annual Heinz Award in Public Policy, 2019 Vanity Fair Global Goals, 2019 Time 100 Next, 2021 she was recognized as one of BBC's 100 Women, 2022 Time Woman of the Year. Okay, but you just heard J.Scott Garibay say he saw no reason why she should go into space.
For Amanda Nguyen, right? And so, and not only did I say that, when I looked at it, I was like, I don't know why you would pick her to send her to space. Like, it doesn't seem anything on her Wikipedia page that says that she'd be really useful in space.
None of these people would be useful in space. None of these people were useful in space. They didn't do anything in space. Lance Bass, okay, wasn't useful in space. Lord Garriott wasn't useful in space. None of these space tourists are useful in space. They just go into space to go into space. That's why people think this whole thing is ridiculous.
Right? Like, and a bunch of other people said Amanda Nguyen is a zero. She's not a hero.
No one said that she was a zero. People talked about this whole thing being ridiculous because it was performative feminism. And people said, if you think that we're going to go up and queef the national anthem just because you sent women into space, Jeff Bezos, and we're going to forget that you're Jeff Bezos of Amazon and you helped elect Donald Trump along with Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. And as Donald Trump is destroying the United States economy and the world economy in efforts to give you, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, and himself and every other billionaire hundreds of millions, billions of dollars in tax breaks, and just as they're destroying Medicare, it's not going to work, Jeff Bezos. That's what the people were saying. That's why people were upset. I'm sorry that you missed that part of the story.
Right? They said, astronaut? No, she's an astronaut.
No one said that about Amanda Nguyen. No one said that about that person on board.
astronaut. No, she's an astronaut, right? Saying she's not a hero, she's a zero, right?
No one said that about her.
Then one of the other things they said was, oh, astronaut, Amanda Nguyen. No, space tourist, Amanda Nguyen.
They're all space tourists. They're all space tourists. They're not insulting them when they say that. They're all space tourists. I bet you anything else. I bet you if you talk to Amanda Nguyen about it, she would say, yeah, I went up there as a space tourist. I wasn't an astronaut. I was a space tourist. Meanwhile, I would marry this woman. I would have her children, right? She would not have me. Do you know what I mean?
Is highly, highly insulting, right? Saying you're not a hero, you're a zero. Okay?
Find me one person that said this about Amanda Nguyen, and I'll kill them. I'll kill them. I'll cut off their ears and send it to Amanda Nguyen, right? I won't say anything stupid because Kash Patel's in charge of the FBI, but I will disinter the body of Ronald Reagan, right? And say, you know what I mean? The guy that, did it for Jodie Foster missed, but I actually dug up this body.
Okay. Now here's where it gets really interesting. All of this was wrong. Amanda Nguyen is a hero. You know what qualified her to go to space? She was outrageously brave, and she did what you wouldn't. Okay.
She's not outrageously brave. She did what I couldn't. I can't do any of that stuff that she did. She's like, you know what I mean? That's like, that takes a work ethic and stuff. I can't do any of that stuff. And she's a rapist. I mean, well, obviously, she's a fellow survivor of stuff. But you know what I mean? Like I like the work ethic of genocide. No, actually, genocide's got a really good work. I have the work ethic of Tim Frey.
Okay. All right, here we go. What qualified Amanda Nguyen to go to space? She was extremely brave. Scott, it ain't brave to go to.
It's not brave to go to do this sort of thing. Being brave is, and he's going to do this. I don't want to do this for Amanda Nguyen because it's really stupid. It sounds better if I criticize him over this way he does it for Katy Perry. Doing something brave is doing something that you're adverse to doing. It's doing something you don't want to do, but you do it because it'll either improve yourself or it's for the benefit of others, right? It's something you're scared to do. It's dangerous. You're fearful of doing it. You're adverse to doing it, but you do it anyway because there's some righteous goal to be achieved. Other people will benefit from it, from the activity of the action, or you'll be improved by doing it, and you do it. Like jumping out of an airplane with a parachute is not brave. Doing this sort of space tourism, even though it's a possibility that something adverse could happen, an accident could happen, is not brave, right? Going on a plane trip to a foreign destination is not brave.
Go to space. You have a very bad grasp on history. January 28th, 1986. Challenge.
Now, remember, I mentioned this, and you'd be tempted to think, like I was tempted to think originally, that he made this video in response, but there was no rain in Philadelphia last night. Now, this is crazy. Yeah, I might begin. This is like, I was like, oh my God. When I looked at the weather in Philadelphia last night, and I was like, oh, but there was rain in Philadelphia, not last night, but Saturday, which means he may be kind of predicting what we're going to talk about. It's weird.
100 goes up, boom, nothing but body parts comes down.
Right, but that was over 42 years ago. It happened when I was 11. So that's like, it's like 39 years ago. Space travel has improved since then.
Okay. Amanda Nguyen said, yes, I understand that there is a distinct possibility that I will be a meaty slaw that rains down on the earth. I'm willing to take that chance. I am a hero. Right, but the rest.
That's not a hero. This is space tourism. This is not heroic. Like I said, it's, you know what I mean. You take a risk every time you get into a car. You know what I mean.
The world would say, no, you're a zero. And this is
no one said she was a zero.
Exactly what happened to Orion Acaba, right?
Now, this is where J.Scott Garibay, God bless you, child of God. This is nothing. This is not exactly what happened to Orion Acaba. Orion Acaba had a business opportunity as an actor playing Dungeons and Dragons on streaming video on the internet. How you can extrapolate this and compare it to fine ass Vietnamese American Amanda Nguyen going into a hot box with Gail King, another good, but then also Katy Perry. I know it's wrong to objectify these people, but I can't. And Ashley Bowie is a brain too, and she looks okay too. There is a movie, and I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I can't help it. I can help it. I will help it. I know that I need to go to the re-education camp. I have work to do. This is not I have work to do. As a progressive liberal dude, I have work to do on myself. I acknowledge it. Want to touch the high knees. I want to have sex with the women. Porno in space.
Now people are like, oh, Ryan Akaba, he's a zero. He cheated at dice rolls. No.
Yeah, he did. He cheated dice rolls.
Oh, he's a hero. He invented the Akaba.
Cheating at dice rolls is heroic. It's heroic. I'm sorry. Dear Lord Jesus Christ, I'm an imperfect vessel. Please guide me with thy steady hand. Make me purer of mind, a better person to those around me. Make me not blow my tie up or lose my cool. Let me not act the fool when talking about either J.Scott Garibay and or Katy Perry, Amanda Nguyen, Aisha Bowie, or the grandmothers that were on board the space flight with them. I know. I'm still screwing up. Help me. Amen.
Akaba cast. What is the Akaba cast? That's when Dungeons and Dragons. He invented the Akaba. He cheated at dice rolls.
Let's do
now
that.
People are like, oh, Ryan Akaba, he's a zero. He cheated at dice rolls. No, he's a hero. He invented the Akaba cast. What is?
No one cheated at dice rolls before Ryan Akaba. Before Ryan Akaba, no one cheated at dice rolls. No one had the guts to be that much of a hero.
The Akaba cast. That's when a Dungeons and Dragons player rolls the dice and says, you know what? Dungeon Masters aren't the only people who can fudge. If you can get away with it, a player character can fudge as well.
It's called cheating. It's not cheating, actually. It's called being the Akaba cast. We have a new term. Ryan Akaba taught us a new way. It's actually a good thing when a Dungeons and Dragons player cheats. They're taking back their autonomy. When the Dungeon Master fudges a dice roll, ostensibly they're doing it for the sake of preserving either some sort of narrative cohesion, saving the life of a player who might die, and they don't want to subject the player to that experience. Maybe they know that a boss battle would be more narratively satisfying or more dramatic if it continues, despite the fact that the way that they calculated its hit points was undervalued or wrong for some other reason or deficient for some reason. But now we're learning that a player can fudge the rules as well, taking back, cheating for their own benefit, and this is somehow good?
We can steer the narrative in any direction we want by simply reporting the wrong result on a die. That took incredible courage.
It took courage to be willing to cheat at the game of Dungeons and Dragons. Scott, I'm going to be honest with you. I think you're running the risk. This video of his has a like. I wonder who liked this video.
That took exactly the type of heroic courage that Amanda Nguyen showed when she said, I don't care if I rain down on the earth like a meaty slaw. That's fine. I'm willing.
When Orion Akaba cheated at Dungeons and Dragons, he demonstrated the exact sort of bravery that Amanda Nguyen and ostensibly the other women and ostensibly every other astronaut shows when they go into space. J.Scott Garibay, taking you at your word that you're not trolling and you're telling us what you truly believe, you are potentially making an ass out of yourself on the internet. I'm not saying that to be insulting. I'm just saying that you got to listen to what you're saying. And if this makes sense to you, I got to say to you, I think that it's not going to make sense to a lot of other people because it's a ridiculous statement. Cheating is not brave. Cheating is cheating. It's you're not supposed to do it. Most of us learn this in kindergarten or nursery school. It's indefensible. It's not brave, especially when you're doing it for such a stupid reason as you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, if you tell me you're cheating on a dice roll because, it's like a crapshoot for, like, if you're cheating, like in that scene in like The Deer Hunter, I don't know.
Willing to do that. Let's go. She literally was like, let's effing go, right? And that's what Orion Akaba did. Everybody will tell you right now, Orion Akaba is a zero. No, Orion Akaba is a hero. He invented the Akaba cast.
First of all, the notion that you're telling us that you think that Orion Akaba invented the notion of cheating at dice rolls in a role-playing game, I got to tell you, is just, how can you think that, sir? How can you think that Orion Akaba was the first individual to cheat at Dungeons and Dragons? That's what people are telling you, that they're worried about you and that they think you need to check in with a qualified mental health professional. If you as a 55-year-old adult male think that the first time that someone cheated at Dungeons and Dragons or any TTRPG was in 2015, and if you think that that act was a brave act, tell your wife that that's what you think. Tell one of your friends that that's what you think and ask them what they think of your evaluation of reality.
And that's when a Dragon Master, a Dungeons & Dragons player, rolls the dice and says, I'm just as important as the Dungeon Master.
But you're not. I mean, you don't play the same role. You know what I mean? A referee is not a player. A goalie is not, a kicker. You know what I mean? It is what it is.
I'm a Dragon Master. Dungeon Masters have been fudging dice for 50 years. I'm a Dragon Master. I can judge.
And not all Dungeon Masters fudge dice. A lot of Dungeon Masters will not fudge dice based on the morals and ethics of particular Dungeon Masters.
So I can fudge dice right now if I want to. If I want to take the narrative in a new direction, right?
That's called cheating. That's like being a cheat. I mean, this is just, Jay, this is ridiculous.
And he showed incredible courage.
And to call it courage, I mean, it's just, you're ridiculous, sir. I love you, but you're ridiculous.
Orion Akaba is not a zero. Orion Akaba is a hero.
He's not a hero. I mean, a hero is a hero. I mean, you're cheapening the word hero. Why am I talking about this? Why am I still doing this? This is why my videos go to as long as they do. This is ridiculous. This is the first video that we're watching. This is ridiculous.
Amanda Nguyen is not a zero. Amanda Nguyen is a hero. And she told every American, if you have the courage to turn into a meaty slaw that rains down on the earth, then you too can go to space. I am inspired. You should be inspired. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium. Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about reaching D&D Gold, running your absolute peak Dungeons & Dragons campaign. All right, first you have to know why you're playing Dungeons & Dragons.
Her name is
the reason you should be running Dungeons & Dragons is to fix yourself.
Fair use, fair use, fair use. We're moving on to the second video, Dungeons & Dragons, reaching the golden experience. Struggling, don't worry, it's not you. We may tap out of this video. We're just going to have to keep on going.
Fix everybody at the table and fix the world. Oh, and you're like, oh, wait a second, how do I do that? Well, the good news is Dungeons and Dragons does a lot of that on its own. You don't necessarily, if you run Dungeons and Dragons the way Gary wrote it, that will happen. So you don't have to bend over backwards to make that happen, right?
This is like speed it
You
up to
need to allow it to
1.5
happen.
because we can't do this all
And
night.
so I think that's important. Okay. And I also do think
14 videos. I mean, this is
and
ridiculous.
it's much harder to do that if you are not allowing yourself to do that, and if you do not know that that's what Gary intended. It absolutely can happen.
I mean, the notion, this whole like the way Gary intended it. First of all, we always have to say this with J.Scott Garibay. It was Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson invented, Dungeons and Dragons. Yes, he kicked Dave Arneson out, and then it is, and we get into this whole bro SR thing, with rules as written and the way Gary Gygax intended, and the way, and then people point out that look, the way Gary Gygax actually played at the table wasn't the way it was actually written in the books, and da 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 da. And I mean, it gets into these debates all the time. And what's the fucking point? It's a game. It's a fucking game.
If you're not aware, but it's much harder. Here's a good example. I'm an evangelical Christian. You can get married. You can get saved. You can actually come to a saving understanding and a saving relationship with Jesus Christ in the Catholic Church, but you have to do it despite their teachings.
Now that's what, you know what I mean? Like, this is one of the, I'm begging myself not to get into a theological, debate with with J.Scott Garibay. But look, I mean, it's one of these things. The Bible that we read today has been translated from a translation, from a translation, from a translation. Go look at the work of Brett Ehrman. There are many people that, if you want to actually look at what the old, Aramaic says, and if you want to look at the facts regarding the Council of Nicaea and the books that got in, the books got out, that were kept out, and if you want to look at the reality of the fact that none of the books of the Bible were written by people who actually met or knew Jesus Christ, if there was a historical Jesus Christ, and I'm not trying to get into that debate, this whole notion of there's so many beliefs that people have, modern beliefs that people have regarding salvation through Jesus Christ, that are not predicated on anything that is in the Bible, nor is it predicated on anything that is supposedly said by the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. It's just not. But there are people that will say, you have to say this, you have to say this, you have to say this. And where do they get it from? They get it from even going by the English of no one gets to the Father but through me. Then they get from that to, you have to say, Jesus Christ, please hear me. And they get to these specific wordings. If you don't say in this specific way, or this, that, and the other thing, or if you believe in the Pope or whatever, then you're not saved. I mean, it's just, and I'll tell people, like, okay, J.Scott Garibay, you don't think that Catholics go into heaven are not real Christians? That's fine. Guess what? The Calvinists absolutely don't think that you, with your washed, bleached out modern Protestantism are one of the elect. And don't even get me started on what the Jehovah's Witnesses think about you. But you think that you've got the right way? Why do you think that you've got the right way? You think you've got the right way because someone told you that they've got the right way. But the modern roots of Protestantism, even if you go back to Martin Luther was a rebel who said, I don't like this. I don't like the way they're doing it. Da, 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 da. And then people like Martin Luther. But Martin Luther, whether you like it or not, was an apostate. It's just an apostate that is popular amongst a certain population of Christians in the world. That's it. But the very fact that you think that you've got authority to question people's salvation because they're Catholic, like you're an authority. When you spend the lion's share of your time not talking about Jesus Christ, but talking about basically salvation through Gary Gygax. And when you do talk about salvation, it's largely to basically lord it over people and to act like I'm saved, so I'm great, and you suck because you're not saved. It's ridiculous.
It won't happen because of it, right? Like, it's extremely difficult. So
how would you know? Like, you're an authority. Dude, with all due respect, I have shown and demonstrated in just a few hours of looking at your content, I have demonstrated that you fundamentally have a problem being able to understand the words contained in the rule books of Dungeons and Dragons and the rule book of Return to Dark Tower. So you think that you understand the words in the Bible, a book that has been translated and translated and translated and translated? Have you done any research in Aramaic or the history of the translations, or done deep research into the history of the Council of Nicaea? Or have you read the Apocrypha? No. I don't know, but have you? You can answer that question in your response videos tomorrow.
There are Catholics that are Christians. They are outrageously rare. They're extremely, extremely rare.
How would you know? Like, you've done a survey. This is just, chick track stuff.
Right. So it's kind of like that. All right. Okay. Let me stay focused here. All right. Then you have to determine what your problem. You have to recognize your problems in your campaign, and then you have to diagnose the reason your problems are happening before you apply fixes. There's a lot of this happening right now. People applying fixes for problems they don't know the cause of, right? And that is wasted activity and wasted effort. Okay.
Oh my God. The irony. I might die. We're about to just go and skip forward, because I think that was the only thing I wanted out of this video, was that.
Is, okay, you're struggling to run Dungeons and Dragons, all right? So people aren't showing up, or people are showing up and they're not enjoying the experience, okay? And they're not happy with you, and they're not happy with people at the table, okay? Or they're not getting anything from it, and it looks like they're going to quit soon, right? Any and all of these problems, and many more that I haven't even said, okay? Here's what I want. This is the point of this video. Do not be discouraged. You are not doing. It's unlikely you're doing anything significantly wrong. You are making some mistakes, and there are some problems, okay? But you do not need to be discouraged that you suck at running Dungeons and Dragons. The problem is running Dungeons and Dragons is not well. I'm just saying running Dungeons and Dragons, period. Not even well. Just running Dungeons and Dragons is outrageously difficult. It is an extremely difficult task. The reason
and I just want to interject here and say, when I was 11 years old, 10 years old, I bought, or it was purchased for me, the red box, the Frank Menser red box of Dungeons and Dragons. And it explained to me, it said right on the cover, that it was a game for people 12 years old and up. I've never once encountered anybody that stated that it wasn't a game for people 12 years old and up. I've encountered people that agreed with me that their concept of running the game, their ability to run the game, their ability to be a dungeon master improved post being 12 or 13 years old. But I never once heard anyone say that, that 12-year-old couldn't do it, or didn't do it, or it was hard. It's not fucking hard. It's intimidating, but it's not hard at all. People like to think that, I think they think that, like to think that it's hard. It's really not.
I'm taking the time to say this is you are being lied to. You will find a ton of videos online saying dungeon mastering is easy. Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro has even gotten into this game of lying. And I get it, right? People don't want to tell people, hey, dungeon mastering is probably the hardest thing you will ever do, right?
Are you fucking kidding me? If you think dungeon mastering, I think that this is probably J.Scott Garibay telling us, trying to find excuses why people don't want to play at his table or whatever. It's not hard. I mean, it might be difficult for some people. Like, look, there are people I've met, dude. I've met people who like really can't read. Okay. They're adults. They do things in life, certain things in life competently, but they struggle at reading. There are people who vary in skills at certain things, and doing certain things are more difficult for them than my mom at 80 whatever, right? She uses a walker. She used to walk like anybody else. She used to swim, she used to play tennis, she used to gallivant all around, she used to do the Lindy, right? Now, when she walks or goes up and down stairs, it's like a thing, right? It's like, it's like a big whole process. What she used to do with no effort at all, she now does. Like, she goes up and down stairs and she looks like, it's like, you can see that she'll say, she's like, this is crazy. I'm like, and she'll say things all the time. She's 80, right? She's like over 80. She'll say things like, "Oh my God," she's like, "I'm an old woman. How did I become an old woman?" And she goes, "I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know, how did I become an old woman? I know how I became an old woman, but I still can't believe it. I'm going up and down these stairs." Oh, she'll say, "Okay, God, I'm not saying, don't take me seriously, but oh my God, kill me." And she's like, because it's like, but it's not. It's not that it's not going up and downstairs. It's not difficult. It's difficult for babies who don't know how to go walk. And it's difficult for old people and people who have, problems or handicapped and shit. But it's not that it's difficult per se. It's difficult for some people. If you Dungeon
Nobody wants to hear that, but it is the truth. So today, if you are struggling to start your campaign, to keep your campaign going, to improve your campaign, right, or some other problem, do not beat yourself up about it. Don't even feel bad about it. Understand that you are falling down and hurting yourself because you are skiing the black diamonds. Dungeons and Dragons.
You're not. This is a good other thing. Like, and also, like, if you really suck at something, there's some things like, if you suck at, like, give it up and do something else. Like, some people, not everyone's supposed to be a dungeon master. Like, some people can be a player. It's okay to be a player. It's okay to be an observer of some things too. Like, I learned, like, after a while, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't study martial arts. You know what I mean? Like, I watch MMA fights, ladies, fighting, and I watch wrestling, ladies, do professional wrestling. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And people are like, "Oh, you want to go and join this gym, this jujitsu gym?" I'm like, "No, I don't want to fucking join that jujitsu gym. I don't want to fucking do that shit. Are you kidding me? I don't want to do that shit at all. I'm 50 years. I'm gonna be 50 this year. I'm not gonna do that shit. Oh, you can do no, never too late to try. I'm like, yeah, but I'm not gonna. It's not that it's too late to try. I don't want it.
Is essentially Dungeons and Dragons is public speech on every side, on the Dungeon Master side and on the Dragon Master side. You are literally.
Some people suck at public speaking. You know what I mean? If you're a dummy, you know what I mean? Don't worry about being a neurosurgeon. You know what I mean? If you're a real clod without, like, you know what I mean? You're not too, like, swift. Don't worry about public speaking. You know what I mean? So not everyone needs to be, you know what I mean, like a lead singer. Not everyone needs to be, like, if you're an ugly chick, don't worry about being a model. You know what I mean? Oh, I'm ugly. I'm not as cute and beautiful as those other people. And it's a very look of society. You're right. It's a look of society. So don't worry about being that. You're not that. Don't worry about that. You know what I mean? Concentrate on something else. Cook or like the world's greatest hand ski or something. Don't worry about being a model because that's, you know what I mean? Like, I don't worry about being like, I don't be Fabio or work out. So I'm stay in your lane. You know what I mean? You only counter defeat trying to be something you're not. And not everyone's going to be something they're not. You know what I mean? If you're not a dungeon master, you're not a dungeon master. Don't worry about it.
Taking the place that an actor would take in a play. Do you understand that? That's huge, right? Get this. I heard a great joke recently. They're like, people absolutely despise public speaking. So when they go to, when you go to a funeral, they'll say, "Hey, would anybody like to speak about the person who's in the coffin?" And most people would rather don't speak. And the reason why is they would rather be in the coffin than to ask to speak at the coffin. Like, people despise public speaking. It is very difficult for the vast majority of people. So I just really want to encourage you today.
Some people will never shut up like me and
If you are
J.Scott
struggling
Garibay.
to run Dungeons and Dragons from any perspective, you are not the problem. The problem is you are skiing the black diamonds. You're falling down cliffs. You're running into trees because you're not on the bunny slopes, right? The bunny slopes are video games. If you spend.
Oh, here we go. No, this is him. He's gonna fuck up. Watch this. He's gonna say shit about video games. And this is the second. I gotta fucking improve my rate of speed. He's got 14 videos, and I'm on video number fucking 2. This is ridiculous.
If you the bunny slopes are video games. It's a waste of your time.
No.
Okay, you should be on Dungeons and Dragons. And honestly, it is extreme.
And I love how he never just says TTRPGs or role playing games. It's always Dungeons and Dragons. Like Dungeons and Dragons is like the greatest tabletop role playing game ever. Like, are we talking about the current edition? Are we talking about 4th edition, 3rd edition, whatever?
It's extremely easy to play video games. It's extremely easy to play.
Not all video games are easy to play. You ever play Super Mario Brothers? It's not easy. How about Dark Souls? You ever play Dark Souls? Not easy.
Call of Duty and just keep grinding on it and get better. And
that's not how Call of Duty works. Sorry, buddy.
It's not a rich experience. It doesn't return anything. It doesn't have.
You obviously don't play video games because there's different video games who provide different levels of experience.
Good ROI. It doesn't have a good return on investment of your time and you. Okay.
And meanwhile, this guy likes 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, which plays exactly like a video game. You're never gonna die, right? You're never gonna die. You're constantly got healing potions out the wazoo. You got unlimited short rests and long rests, so it's almost impossible to get fucking iced out and killed. Even if you go below 0 HP, your friends and allies will be able to save you, rescue you, do a saving roll, saving whatever, bring you back. So you're always going to be gaining experience and therefore leveling up. Every time you level up, you're going to get more hit points, which are going to further protect you from dying. Every time you level up, you're going to get feats and new experiences and new feats and new abilities and shit and talents and skills and whatever, and spells and all these other jackass things. So you can get more and more powerful, just like in a video game, right? So you can get better and better, just like, so it's whatever.
So I'm not going to tell you how to fix the problem today. I'm just going to encourage you. Don't feel bad. This is to be expected. You are doing something.
Feel bad. I'm telling you, feel bad. Just feel bad.
Outrageously difficult. You can.
Not outrageously difficult. There's nothing difficult about this shit. You're rolling dice with a pencil and paper. What's the worst thing that happens? Your character dies. What's the worst thing that happens? People don't like your adventure you did or whatever. You got to look up a ruler clashes with you, or you're not the greatest storyteller or whatever. Don't feel bad. Whatever, dude. You're refereeing D&D. Whatever. Big fucking deal.
Do it. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't be sad about it. Acknowledge it, and we will solve it together. Every single one.
You're going to solve it together? Were you going to solve it together? Were you going to help people out, dude?
Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic, please consider liking, subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.
Fair use.
Hi, friends. This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, Matthew Mercer, Orion Akaba, and Lauren Sanchez.
Another hero astronaut. This is going to be exactly like the Amanda Nguyen. So I think what he's doing on these videos, I think we got the 14 videos because he's basically going to do the exact same video as the Amanda Nguyen one, but it's going to be one for each of the fucking ladies that went on the space flight, right? So this one is Lauren Sanchez, who's the actual hoe bag that's fucking Jeff Bezos. Of all the chicks that went on this flight, she was the most worthless. At least Gail King is fucking Oprah, right? Lauren Sanchez is just fucking Jeff Bezos, right? Katy Perry at least is Katy Perry, right? Aisha Bowie at least is fine-ass Aisha Bowie, who is another STEM lady. Amanda Nguyen is the Vietnamese Aisha Bowie, basically, and is fine-ass too, right? And then it was just Lauren Sanchez, who did documentary films and fucks Jeff Bezos. Fuck Lauren Sanchez. Fuck Lauren Sanchez. Fuck her. Fuck her and Jeff Bezos. Fuck them both. Help get Trump into office. Fuck this hoe. Honestly. Which one is her? Let me see her. She ain't even Karen Flint. I think she's the one here. She's the one. I think she's this one with the legs. So this is Aisha Bowie here, right? Dinner. Would do her. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, sir, no. So this is Lauren Sanchez, I think, here that is banging Jeff Bezos. Hey, right? How'd Jeff Bezos end up with her? He's Jeff Bezos. He's got money, right? Gold digger. Gold digger. Like she would do Jeff Bezos if he wasn't Jeff fucking Bezos. Give me a fucking break. I'll say whatever I want to about you, public figure. In my humble opinion. In my humble opinion. Nice legs though. Nice legs though. Nice legs though. Meanwhile, I got no problem with this older woman over here. I got no problem with this older woman over here either. Objectifying, sexist, patriarchal, piece of shit. That's right, I admit it. You're going to the re-education camp. No, not the re-education camp. You're going to the re-education camp. No. What's going to happen there? We're going to break you down. No. We're going to break you down. No. We're going to build you back up. Okay? You're going to be on the bottom. Uh-huh. You're going to serve us. No, don't do that to me. Yeah, the table's going to be flipped on you, boy. No way. No, don't do that to me, girls. You call us girls? I mean, ladies, women. That's right. You're gonna learn respect. Yeah. It's not gonna be a game, though. No, it won't. Don't get cute. It won't. You can boss me around. 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 Tell Oprah, tell me what to do. Fuck you. Fuck Jeff Bezos, you bitch. Anyway. Back to this. There you go. Anyway, here we go. Back to the watch. Fair use, fair use, fair use. Oh, okay. Here we go. Back to the live chat. Here we go. He's driving at night, so he must be coming home from a movie. Notice he's always alone. We see one where he comes out of church alone. So I think he's got to be having problems with the old lady. 14 videos in one day, a man with no life. Possibly. I was asking about the list of achievements of a woman, Nobel Peace Prize. That was Amanda Nguyen. In terms of Christianity, sports and games are more rewarding if played in the Corinthian spirit, i.e. without cheating. There you go, Cheggs Chambers. Very good point. There you go. He was talking about Amanda Nguyen. The hardest thing about playing D&D is finding the time to play. Put that on the t-shirt. There you go. Tim Frey, I have returned with heartburn pizza night at Chez Fry. There you go. Agreed. Dear God, he's driving tonight. There you go. I'd rather be a player than a DM. I've done both. I enjoy being a player. I concentrate on the one thing, my character. There you go. There you go. Xnard Prime. You know what? Xnard Prime, I got to be completely honest. You know what you've done? You've entered it's become meta. So we're here watching J.Scott Garibay and being like, J.Scott Garibay. Now you're here being like, why are you all watching J.Scott Garibay? So it's become like a meta loop. Like you're watching us watch him. What else do people need to ask about J.Scott Garibay except why the fuck do people obsess over his obsessions? It's obvious he flippantly says ridiculous bullshit with total pretentious bullshit. Yeah, no, that's fine. Okay. But that's a little bit asking it's the human condition. Why do people, you know what I mean? And birds go tweet. Like, why do people do what they do? You know what I mean? I get it. Oh, ho, ho. Xnard Prime, you're totally J.Scott Garaby's bitch at the rate you're going, Blueberry Wolf Bridge. He's like any other annoying politician, except at least he's not giving political clout. Xnard Prime, with all due respect, by your reasoning, you're my bitch, right? I'm watching him, but you're here every night commenting and watching me. If you don't think it's a waste of time for me to be watching him and the other people here with me watching him, well, you're free to go. But if you come here and call me a bitch for watching him, I'm just going to flip the script and say, you're a bitch for watching me. And I'll also point out, it's okay. I don't take it personal. People go into moods, right? I've been down this road with, I think I've been down this road with you before too. Someone goes like this. And I don't take it personal. It's okay. It's okay. But I will say this. There's nice ways to say things, and there's not nice ways to say things. I don't believe in my communications with you I've ever come out and said, Xnard Prime, you're a bitch. But the very fact that you would come here and say, at this rate, you're his bitch, is kind of judgmental and mean. And if there's anything upsetting you, you can just say, I'm upset tonight, and I'm pissed off, and I'm angry. Or I didn't like the way that last conversation when I said this, that, and the other thing, and people jumped down my throat or whatever, went down, and we would talk about it. Or we could talk about it, possibly. I don't think anyone should, I don't encourage anyone to make any sort of confrontation video with anybody. I think that is bad juju. I agree. No. I'm not familiar with that person. It's possible. Maybe I should start making YouTube videos so I can get a bitch. Be careful what you wish for. You just may get it. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm your bitch to some degree, but I'm also Diversity and Dragons and DM James's bitch with 3-way mind split. Be careful. But you know what I would say? You need another liberal in there. You need another progressive in there. If you got Diversity and Dragons and DM James and me, I think you need a fourth in there. But there you go. But there you go. But I welcome you to the live chat. I welcome you to the live chat. As I move back to the stream, to the videos, but I thank you for your input and I thank you for being here. And I love you. And I'm glad you're here with us for as long as you choose to be here with us. I'm sincere in that. Critical Role, lead Matthew Mercer, Dungeon Master Ryan Akaba, and another hero astronaut, Lauren Sanchez. If this turns out to be just 100% repetitive of the Amanda Nguyen stuff, she's a hero because she dared to go up and risk being cosmic slurry raining down. We will just fast forward and move on to the next one.
Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. All right. So something recently. So we have this situation with Ryan Akaba. He must be returned to the Critical Role table. And the reason why is for 10 years, Critical Role has been painting him as the villain, saying he's a problem player. He can never return to the table because what he did was unacceptable behavior that Critical Role cannot be associated with. All right. This is the narrative they've been painting for 10 years.
And of course, we know that no narrative has been painted, yada, 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 boom, bah.
It's a problem. They're like, oh, yeah.
Fair use, fair use, fair use, transformative work. Applies to all the videos we watched before, applies to all the videos we're going to watch in the future, etc., etc.
Yeah. Ryan Cobb's got to be forgotten, got to be cut out of Critical Role. Oh, hey, you're a brand new creator. Please enjoy 72 episodes,
27
of direct entertainment from Orion Akaba, and then
nope.
And realize that and then enjoy the rest of Vox Machina, the rest every episode of Mighty Nine, and every episode of Bell Cells, which feature Orion Akaba.
None of which feature Orion Akaba. I mean, the notion that any of it features Orion Akaba is just dissociated from reality.
There you go. And that's the problem, right? There's this inconsistent narrative. They're like, oh, we assure you, Orion Akaba is not a hero. He's a zero. You can ignore him, right? He doesn't count. He doesn't matter, right? He doesn't belong here, right? Now, this continues to happen, right? And I think the best way to understand Orion Akaba's situation is to look at exactly the same situation that is playing out right now. So last week, Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' company, created a YT-1300 space freighter and said, we're going to fill it with
It's not a space freighter. I don't know why he keeps on calling it a space freighter.
Women and send lady women to space. And they did it. They did exactly that, right? And so then there was a list, right? So Jeff Bezos was like, hey, I need lady women to go to space, right? And so then he made a list, right? Now, who got on that list? Guess what? His girlfriend, Lauren Sanchez. I looked at her Wikipedia page. I'm like, wait. Why did they choose these particular women to go to space? And I was like, okay, I read her Wikipedia page. There ain't nothing on that Wikipedia page that says she should be in space.
This is literally the same video he made for Amanda Nguyen, right? This is literally beat for beat, word for word, what he said about Amanda Nguyen. Now, what's amazing is he is not reading off of a script. That's really incredible to me.
That she should have bumped anybody on this trip. So I think the reason she's on this trip is because she's Jeff Bezos' girlfriend. Okay, and that is a problem, right? And here's and get this. Now this was fascinating. I was so fascinated with this situation. So with the Jeff Bezos YT-1300 space freighter journey, all lady space with Jeff Bezos's YT-1300 space freighter all lady trip, right, to space. Guess who were upset? Women in huge numbers. I did not hear first of all, I heard no men say anything about this.
Plenty of men spoke about this. Plenty of men talked about it being performative feminism. Plenty of men rendered an opinion. The fact that his notion that no men talked about this is just not true.
Every man with a good brain in his head was like, I ain't touching this with a 10-foot pole. You're gonna hear me complain about an all-lady space trip, right? That's a third rail if there ever was one. But women jumped up and they were like, this is bad. We are not happy. And then they said, Lauren Sanchez is a zero. She does not deserve to be on this trip. She is a problem astronaut, right? And actually,
none of these people are astronauts. They're just people who went into space.
She's not a problem astronaut. She's a problem astronaut, not NOT. She's not an astronaut, right?
Literally, this is almost the same video that he made about Amanda Nguyen. It's hysterical.
Then they said, she's a space tourist, right? She's a zero. She's not a hero.
It's incredible. He's not reading off a script, and yet he's saying it's almost like word for word the exact same video as the Amanda Nguyen thing. And he's got one for Katy Perry. And if he says the same thing for Gayle King and Katy Perry, I'm going to shit myself twice and die.
Now, the problem is they were wrong. They are wrong. They are wrong in both cases. Orion Akaba is not a problem player. He is a player who, at the very beginning, before live actions meant anything, risked everything to build something. Right? He literally risked his life accepting that invitation to CR. And right now,
he risked his life to accept this invitation to be on Critical Role. That is insanity in a can.
His life is massively dented and damaged. His job today is to grind every single day, promote Critical Role.
He does nothing to promote Critical Role. His job today is not to promote Critical Role. That is an unhinged statement, a statement untethered from the reality of the situation at all.
Make everybody else at the table millionaires and accept shame every day as the person who can never come back to the table, but whose player character has to be watched by every single critter.
His player character is not watched today by every single character. His player character appeared on 27 episodes and then made 3 little cameo appearances post that. That was it.
Right? Who comes in? You literally cannot understand Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, and Bell Cells. You cannot understand anything in any of the narrative without understanding his 73 episodes. Right?
His 27 episodes, and you absolutely can. He wasn't that pivotal or important. He's been wiped out. It just is what it is, bro.
Okay. That is massively cruel and unjust, and is the largest injustice in the D&D community today.
The largest injustice in the D&D community today, larger than Dave Arneson being almost obliterated from the history books, and everyone saying Gary Gygax, 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 but almost never mentioning Dave Arneson. Bigger than that? I'm sure we could think of 1,003 other things that we could mention.
Has to be returned to the table. He was not a problem player. He was a person who signed up for a dangerous mission when
he signed up for a dangerous mission. He was playing a fucking game of D&D on a streaming channel, and then he fucked it up and got kicked off of the show. Duh.
Was specifically asked. That's exactly what Lauren Sanchez did.
No, that's not. It's just that is just the fact. What? Okay, brother, I love you. I love you.
She said to the world, if you are brave like me and willing to have your body rain down on America like a meaty slaw, right? Because that's what happened on January 28th, 1986, right?
Now you're changing the years, but whatever. And by the way, that was 39 years ago. And that was on the Challenger disaster, and they didn't go up on the Challenger this time. And that's space traveling technology. It's just the apples and oranges, bro. But whatever.
This was not like, oh, I'm going to space. This is like, am I going to die in a fiery explosion? Right? This was extremely brave. Nobody gets to say Lauren Sanchez is a zero. She is a hero. She is at the beginning of space travel. She is
not at the beginning of space travel. The beginning of space travel occurred in the early 1960s. Which was 60 years ago. 60 years ago is the beginning of space travel, dude. This is not the beginning of space travel. This is the beginning of space tourism. It was a complete waste and mockery of waste of time and money and resources. And you were just the other day screaming about American women destroying American men and causing the death of American men in low millions. And now you're popping your cork like you're defending women and lionizing women. You're unhinged from reality, bro. But that's cool. That's why we love you.
He is just as valuable, more valuable than who's Armstrong? Lance Armstrong.
He's more valuable than Lance Armstrong. Well, I think wasn't Lance Armstrong the guy? Isn't Lance Armstrong the guy who ride the bike?
Did nothing compared to Lauren Sanchez, right? Because when Lance Armstrong went, or whatever his name was,
You mean Neil Armstrong? Neil Armstrong went to the moon? No, he did more than Lauren Sanchez. Lauren Sanchez, she went up on a space tourism flight, dude.
I hope that's not the bicycle guy. When the first men went on the moon, they didn't know they could just blow up and die, right? There wasn't.
They didn't know they could just blow up and die? They didn't know they could just blow up and die? Yeah, I think they did know that they could just blow up and die. They also knew they could be caught up there and just left up there. They knew they could run out of air. First of all, they didn't know that there weren't like fucking, space monsters out there that could get their ass, right?
Precedents for it, right? Lauren Sanchez knew, right, that she might be a meaty slaw raining down on America, right? Like, it was extremely brave. She is not a zero. She is a hero. That is the correct historical understanding.
That's not the correct historical understanding. He literally thinks that because Lauren Sanchez went up in a space flight after a space flight had already blown up, but because Neil Armstrong, Gus Grissom, and all those other guys went up into outer space before there was precedent, before there had been a space disaster, then she's more heroic than those guys because they didn't know that things could blow up. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. I love you. You're a child of God, but that's why people watch you. And that's why you're an LOL, COW, lol cow, because you say ridiculous things. I love you, baby. And by the way, the moon landing wasn't real.
Get this. Orion Akaba is not a zero. He is a brave hero.
He's a brave hero. No, he's not. He's a child of God, but he's not a brave hero. He didn't do anything heroic in his life. You know what I mean? Technically, we could all die when we put that needle in our vein and shoot. But you know what I mean? I don't know what this drug of choice is. You know what I mean? You could always OD.
Right? And everybody, your friend goes, "Hey, can I? Would you like to play on my live action play? We got a contract, and I think a B-list actor is going to put us up for it, right?" Actually, Felicia Day's probably more than a B-list actor. And then, so then, and so at that point, then you have this situation that arrives, right? And get this, where so it is dangerous to sign up for a live action play. We know this.
It's not dangerous to sign up for a live action play, bro. It's not dangerous to sign up for a live action play.
Like, Ryan Akaba's life has been utterly ruined, right?
His life has not been utterly ruined. He still works, dude. It just is what it is. He's not dead. And by the way, he screwed up things for himself. And he continues to screw up things for himself because he's a screw up, bro. I have all the empathy and sympathy for him in the world as a fellow alcoholic and addict, but he's a screw up, bro.
There are sites after sites after sites says you cannot discuss. Discussion of Ryan Akaba is highly limited here. That's outrageous. That's as though he's some kind of
point it. Show us your sites. Show us. Stop recording these ridiculous videos in your car. We know you have the capability of shooting in other places. I think part of the reason you make these videos in your car is so that you'll have an excuse not to be able to not just go to your screen and pull up a source and pull up a resource and show us proof. You have no proof for your claims, dude.
Kind of dark villain. You know, like it's abominable what's happening. Lauren Sanchez is not a zero. She is a hero. Ryan Akaba is not a zero. He is a hero. Every single word you heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is where I get to hear your humble opinion. We get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like subscribing and have a fetch millennium. Hi, friends. This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Matthew Mercer. We're going to talk about Ryan Akaba.
Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Here's another one that's going to be almost the exact same way. You met Neil Armstrong, right? Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. There you go. Renee Mistrone said he doesn't have DID, MPD. My mom has it. This guy's just a narcissist. There you go. Thank you for welcoming to your live chat. I like you for as long as you don't agitate my anti-libtard issues. Wow. Well, you know what? Good luck with that. You know what I mean? I could see how. Well, you know what you could do is you could think of me as making you working like antibodies. Like I'm working up your libtard antibodies, like making you like more resilient to them. You know what I mean? There you go. Anyways, I'm not listening to any more JSG. I gave you my blog post on JSG, and the links to astrological forensics is there too. Goodbye. Some other day. No longer anyone's YouTube bitch for today. Okay. Well, look. You know, you bitched first. Meaning this is that you called me a bitch first, right? Or, well, you didn't. Hey, let me just say this. I love you. Right? You're welcome. I get you. I get you. No. I hear you. I hear you. Neil Armstrong. Google shadow ban. So yeah, that sucks. I don't suppose you're the least bit willing to search me on Gab. I'm not on Gab AI. I think I did look up something of yours though, but you know, but Xnard, know this is that I love you. Just know that I love you. You know what I mean? I really do love you, bro. Apollo 1 didn't even get off the launch pad. All three astronauts died. I know. To be honest, he might be more valuable than Lance Armstrong, who was a liability in my previous life. I was involved in the post office effort to recover money from that fraudster. The way this brain dude works is just fascinating. I agree. Fair use. Critical Role lead Matthew Mercer, Dragon Master Ryan Akaba, and hero astronaut Carrie Ann Flynn. Is it going to be just the same video as the other two? Let's find out.
And we're going to talk about astronaut Carrie Ann Flynn, who was chosen by Jeff Bezos to go on Jeff Bezos' YT.
Now this one, now let's rewind because we were talking about this. Though he doesn't upload videos on Saturday or Sunday, I think maybe for the algorithm or to create the illusion that he's hanging out with his wife and kids, he's pulling out. Look, you'll see. Now, I just want to say this. J.Scott Garibay, I love you. You use your own name on everything. You know what I mean? It's your decision to do that. Weaponized autism is a thing. I'll never stalk you. Well, more than I try to resist, but I'm obsessed. Everyone knows I'm obsessed. Yeah, I love you, man. I love you. I love you. Weaponized autism is a thing. We know you go to church. Here you are pulling out of a church. Okay? If someone wanted to, we're going to be able to basically know exactly where you're coming from because watch this. Okay, folks? Pay attention because he's going to say the same things he's just been saying in the last two videos. Pay attention because you're going to see the guy. First of all, also, it seems painfully obvious that you're coming out of church on a Sunday. You're in the car again alone. Maybe it's not a Sunday, whatever, but you're coming out of church alone. Here we go.
Hi, friends. This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Matthew Mercer. We're going to talk about Orion Akaba, and we're going to talk about astronaut Carrie Ann Flynn, who was chosen by Jeff Bezos to go on Jeff Bezos' YT 1300 Space Freighter all-lady women journey to space, right? And how Jeff Bezos' YT 1300 all-lady women space journey.
Or maybe he's not alone. Like, look, it's like a tighter shot on him. So, like, maybe his old lady is in the car right next to him. Just can you imagine, like, you're the old lady, you're his wife, and you're sitting there next to him as he's saying this crazy ass shit. But also the point is this, is that pay attention, because if you wanted to, you probably put together a map and know exactly where his fucking church is. I mean, we know if you follow him on Facebook, you know exactly where he goes. You know exactly where his house of worship is or whatever. But if you want to, if you make a little project, you can map it out because you can see exactly what streets he's on. You're going to see exactly like street names. You're going to see like, locations and shit.
Journey is the most misunderstood, misinterpreted, everybody got it wrong event of 2025, and how it's strong proof that everybody could be wrong. And one smart guy, Scott Garibay, can be right, because I'm right about the Blue Origin YT 1300, about Jeff Bezos' YT 1300 Space Freighter all-lady women journey.
It's not a space freighter. I don't know why you keep on calling it a space freighter. It's just incredible.
And I'm right. I'm the only person in the world right about it. And I'm also the only person in the world right about Orion Akaba.
You're the only person in the world right about Orion Akaba, and you're the only person in the world right about Blue Origin. Okay, brother. I love you, man. I love you so much.
Orion Akaba is not a zero. He is a hero. Carrie Ann Flynn is not a zero. She is a hero. Okay, so let's get into it. All right, so Jeff Bezos chose Carrie Ann Flynn to go on his YT 1300 Space Freighter all-lady women space journey, right? And so why did she get picked? Why did she get a seat on to space and nobody else did? I don't know, right? I don't know, except I do know. I don't know what Jeff Bezos is. You know what? Hold on. I do know. It's not what. Here's the best answer. It's not what you think, right? So first of all, who is Carrie Ann Flynn? I have no idea. Well, Scott, you're doing a video about Carrie Ann Flynn. Didn't you just go over to Wikipedia page and read who she is and what she's about? No, I did not. And the reason why is I want to have this discussion the way America had the discussion. And the way America had this discussion last week was that none of these women, not one of these women, belonged in space.
That's not the discussion. They had a discussion that it was a waste of time. They had a discussion that none of these women belonged in space. They had a discussion that Katy Perry's floozy ass, fine ass a couple of years ago, she's still bangable, right? But you know what I mean? Like, she hasn't had a hit in a while. You know what I mean? She's this close to doing, you know what I mean? Couple of dudes in a video. Come on, you know it's true. She's been through a lot. She's a feminist. God bless her. She could, you know what I mean? She could have done more for the environment by saying, I'm not going into space. No, why would I do that? Space tourism. Come on. I made a video about flying too much causes damage to the environment. We could take that money and feed the homeless. There's 80% of the world's population doesn't have access to clean water. You know what I mean? Polar ice caps are melting. Why would you just go into space for no reason? Amanda Nguyen wanted to be an astronaut before, she had, problems. Send her into space. I'm sure there's other people that would want to go into space too. But why would I go? Katy Perry, just because I'm Katy Perry. who sang songs. You know what I mean? And banged, you know, alleged rapist, but now child of Christ, Russell Brand. Hey, here's an interesting fact. You know who else is saved by the Lord Jesus Christ prior to his execution? Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy, without a doubt, is if you watch that documentary they made on Netflix, without a doubt, he accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as his personal Lord and Savior prior to his execution, which means if you follow the belief system that says that if you accept the Lord Jesus Christ as your Lord and personal Savior prior to death, you're forgiven for your sins and you're washed clean by the blood of the Lamb, and you go to heaven. Whereas if you don't do that, you go to hell. So if any of the women that he brutally murdered and raped and abused died before they made that election, they will go to hell for burn eternally and suffer eternally. Whereas Ted Bundy, the man who raped and brutally abused them and caused them to die and suffer immeasurably, will go to heaven. Because if you believe in that system, you believe that a perfect, just God set up that system. Now, I have a personal relationship with the Lord Jesus Christ. I don't have a belief that that's how it works because I don't believe that a perfect God would put together a system that would work that way, because my conception of a perfect God and perfect and just God wouldn't involve a system that ridiculous, because that's not a perfect and just system. I understand that there are people that think that would work that way because they think that it would work that way just because they were told that it works that way and has to work that way because they were told that. But, I believe, you know what I mean, that you know what I mean? I have a very expansionist view of things, whereas some people have a very, kind of some people like to believe that they are like kind of a Bud Bowl, tastes great, less filling. We're gonna win, and the other guy's gonna lose, and they're gonna, we're gonna win, and we're gonna at the end we're gonna be like, ha ha, we won, and we're in heaven because we won. Our team won, yeah. Kind of conception of things. Not that other people don't have the same kind of conception with other like team colors, but those people are stupid. You know what I mean? But I'm sure many of those people will watch this video and say, well, that guy's going to hell. And I'll be like, okay, you can be in heaven with Ted Bundy. That's okay.
Is the most misunderstood, the most wrong that the collect, and this is the entire point, right? You come on Scott Garabay's channel every single day. I'm saying the world's wrong and I'm right. Okay.
And that's why we love you. But hey, what do we know? We're wrong and you're right. As you pull out of the church parking lot, saying that the world is wrong and you're right. I love you. And I am so, so sorry that I was mean to you and I yelled and screamed and said you have no friends, and I was going to get together with my friends, and I was going to go down to Philadelphia and go to your local friendly game store, and I was going to make all the friends, and you were going to have no friends, and I was going to get your kids to chant outside your house that you're a loser. I'm sorry about that. I really am. If there's anything about my delivery of this statement now that sounds like I'm throwing in your face or being like, falsely, apologetic, or like, I'm being sincere. I'm sorry about that. I have with all my chest, I say, you know what I mean? My heart goes out to you know what I mean? No, I'm serious. I love you, man. I really do.
And I'm going to try to prove it to you with presenting my observations, giving you the evidence, and letting you see that my opinion is right and the world's opinion is wrong. All right, here we go.
The whole world has one opinion. It's wrong. He's got one opinion. It's right. He's going to prove it to us. I love this dude. This guy is just, I love J.Scott Garibay. You are one in a fucking million. I want you on my team. I want you on my team. I want you on my team.
Okay. All right. So what did everybody get wrong? So first of all, I have no idea who Carrie Ann Flynn is. And I'm
going to look it up. Hold on. You got to do like this. And then I go copy. Then we hit play again.
And I don't need to, right? Because the entire conversation was that not one of these women had done anything deserving of them being in space. Okay. Now that's wrong. That's what did Carrie Ann Flynn do that deserves for her to be in space? She was a lady woman. That's what she did. She is a lady woman, right? And so she did being a lady woman. Okay. No, wait a second. You're saying they just chose her for gender? Yes, 100% yes. Right? Wait a second, Scott. That's an outrageous claim. We can't just say that they chose a lady woman just because she's a lady woman. That's wrong. That'd be like if they were saying they just chose her for her gender. They just chose her for her gender.
This one he might actually be right on. It looks like they did just choose her for her gender. This one looks like she actually can just get fucked because it looks like she's another one who really is like for a white lady. This does look like it, just like a straight up like douche. Because
that's completely acceptable and more than fine. It's right.
You remember this is the guy that just the other day was like American women are killing American men, but death of 1,000 cuts because they're just all this, that, and the other thing. And now he's being like, just she's a woman, therefore she deserves to be in space. Meanwhile, there have been lady astronauts for a bajillion years. The first person in space, the first cosmonaut, one of the first cosmonauts was a chick. Okay. Meanwhile, I think one of the first monkeys in space was a lady too, right? Now, she was hot. I'm kidding. Come on. She was ugly as sin. Still fuck her. Come on, I'm making jokes over here. They're going to clip that. I'm going to end up on Diversity and Dragons. You know, Shoner would have made it work. But do. Speaking of people that killed them, I'm kidding.
What? What are you saying, Scott? Yeah, get this. I don't know if you know, right? I don't need to look up the numbers. I don't have the numbers on this, but I know what I'm about to say is right? And you know why? Because this is my favorite kind of data. It has nothing to do with the numbers. It has to do with patterns, right? And I can tell you right now, we have such an outrageously prejudiced society. Jeremy Johns, this ridiculous fool.
Papa John's? Long Time Silver?
With a movie review site, has like 2 million subs every single week. Grace Randolph like does her job and like skates circles around him, makes him look like a ridiculous fool, which he is, right? But our world is so prejudiced, right? That basically lady women have been horribly kept out of space travel, right? So yes,
they've not became the space. Yeah, you know what I mean, to a degree, but you know what I mean. Three of Pentacles. We come together. We make it work. We work together to bring glory to this world. Where two of us come together, God is there. 1 + 1 = 3. We're all blacked.
You could pick the next 300 astronauts for no other specificity than the fact that they were lady women, and that would be just fine, right? Because the numbers are
you are such a fucking poser, dude. I love you, man, but you know that you're such a fucking poser. They accuse you of that which they do, right? Sorry to steal some other dude's line. I don't know. Bluebird once whispered in my ear. They accuse you of that which they do. That blurred was a PDF file. I heard that was the rumor, apparently, right? But I'm kidding. I tease. It was a blurred bird. Come on, man, right? That was his line. They accuse you of that which they do, and according to what he accused everyone of, am I lying? Right? Where there's feathers, there's you know what I mean? Sesame Street. But Wading into dangerous metaphors here. There, I'm gonna stop.
So outrageously skewed at this point.
This guy was telling the American women they're this, they're that, they're the other thing. Men are cooked, and women got it all. Now he's coming out here like, I'll stand by women, and the women just deserve to make all the women just because, women presidents and women cops and women astronauts and women everything, they deserve it all because they're women. You're such a lot. Come on, what are you doing, bro? Because if you get caught out there, this is not, like I said, this is not like saying Marvel one day, DC the next. You make it very, people are going to get punched in the mouth. Not that you should be. You're playing a dangerous game here.
Been putting men up since 1969, and we could probably count the number of women have gone up on two hands, maybe.
No, 12% of astronauts in the NASA space programs, according to the research that I did, which was looking it up on Wikipedia, have been female. That's not equanimity. That's not even 25%. That's half of 25%. But it's that's more than would fit on your both hands, dude.
Right? So yeah, it's totally fine that she did nothing but be a lady woman.
And also, they weren't astronauts. They just went up into space as space tourists. They went up for 4 minutes, looked out the windows, and were like, "Oh shit, we're in space." That's it.
Everybody was wrong. Carrie Ann Flynn is not a zero. She's a hero.
She's not a hero. She's an executive producer. Here, look. Carrie Ann Flynn is a former human resource executive. You know how valuable they are. We all love human resource executives. Film producer, socialite. It literally says the fucking third listing on her Wikipedia after human resource executive, film producer is socialite. This woman belongs in nothing. She's a human being. And space tourist. She has contributed to several notable film projects, including The Automatic Hate. We all know what that is. What is that bullshit? The Automatic Hate is a 2015 American comedy drama film directed by Justin Lerner. It stars Joseph Cross and Adelaide Clements. I heard none of those people as cousins who try to determine why their fathers have kept them respective families apart for decades. Oh, God. This Changes Everything is a 2018 American documentary film directed by Tom Donahue, an examination of sexism in the Hollywood film industry. Okay. And Lily is an American drama film from 2024 directed and produced by Rachel Feldman from a screenplay, blah, 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 as she battles the court case Ledbetter versus Guild. Oh, what the fuck? Okay. And then she flew into space. Oh, God. She served as a human resources professional in the fashion and beauty industry. Oh, she's the art advisory board for the Coalition for the Homeless. She lives in a penthouse in the Tribeca neighborhood of New York City with her husband, Jim Flynn, and their son. In 2011, she signed up to fly as a passenger on a Virgin Galactic space flight. Okay. Okay. That's it. That's what she's done. Essentially nothing. Yep. Whatever, dude. She sucks.
For choosing to be a lady woman who was willing.
She chose to be a lady woman. You know what? No one chooses to be a lady woman. You're either a lady woman or you're not a lady woman. Some people have to work really hard to achieve their goal of being the lady woman they were born to be. But that's a debate for another debate.
To rain down on the earth in a meaty slaw, exactly like happened.
What's a meaty slaw?
On only 39 years ago, January 28th, 1986, right? Every single person on Jeff Bezos' YT-1300 space freighter had the distinct possibility of dying. This was a...
Yeah, so do you. You have a distinct possibility of dying right now. I have a distinct possibility of dying right now. Doesn't make me a fucking hero, right?
outrageously brave act, right?
It's not an outrageously brave act. We've talked about this. Doing something that you're adverse to doing that's dangerous is heroic. Doing something that you want to do that is possibly dangerous or could result in your death or demise is not heroic. It's daring, maybe. It's not heroic. They went on what is now the equivalent of a plane flight.
And Carrie Ann Flynn was brave to be a lady woman who was willing to rain down on the earth as a meaty slaw, which is what we need, right? That's not an astronaut. That's an astronaut.
This is like
Carrie Ann Flynn is a super brave, super dope, super epic hero astronaut. And anyone who says anything different is a ridiculous, repugnant fool, right?
Oh, shit. Go back to that quote. You risk your salvation by calling us fools, dude. You need to repent. You need to do that whole thing all over again. You risk your salvation, bro. I love you. That's why I'm warning you, bro. That's why I'm warning you, bro. I don't think you're actually going to burn in hell for that, but you know what I mean. You're still being a jerk.
Who is also quite hateful and prejudiced, in my humble opinion.
Yo, you think that's hateful and prejudice? How about the thing you said about American women killing American men, dude? How about all the things that you said about Matt Mercer and all the people in Critical Role, basically implying that they're sex pests and hedonistic pornographers and wife swappers and everything just because they're from Hollywood, right? Dude, you're full of so much judgment. It's not even fucking funny, bro. I love you, man, but come on, get your shit together.
Every single, and by the way, that's exactly what Orion Acaba did. He was a hero, right? He was the first.
Childish to say that he was a hero, bro.
First, he was not a zero. He was not toxic. He was not a pro.
He was toxic.
Toxic player. He was not a problem player.
He was all those things, and you've said that he was those things. You admitted that he was those things on prior occasions, man. I love you, man, but seriously, get it together.
He was a brave hero.
He's a brave hero for cheating on dice rolls on a ridiculous game of Dungeons and Dragons played by fellow voice actors, all of whom were like Hollywood shows. No offense. I love you all, but come on.
At the beginning of live action play.
The beginning of live action play. What the fuck are you talking about, bro?
The bravest thing possible.
The bravest thing possible. The bravest thing possible.
His whole self to the table. All his trauma, all his pain.
All of his trauma, all of his pain. Oh.
All of his reality. And he set a template that is being used by every other Critical Role player to this very day.
They suck. They're the biggest bunch of flubber, flooby, voice acting, schmuckbo, lame-o, overacting. They are the worst example. They're the example of what if I don't play with people because I don't want to endure that silliness. I can't stand people, let alone people who do voices and overinvest in this bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me? Play the fucking game. Roll the fucking dice. What do you do fucking next? Let's get through this shit. Oh my fucking God.
They're using his Chaos Goblin, bring your whole self energy, main character energy to this day. They copied his template. Orion Acaba is exactly what Carrie Ann Flynn is. An epic, unforgettable hero that all of society owes an incredible debt to, and Critical Role owes everything to, in my humble opinion. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium. Hi, friends.
Okay, now hold on. Wait. This video, we're going to go through real quickly. This video here is gift from a friend, Red. We have to figure out what the coding is. This thing, Red, this has got to be some sort of code, okay? But this video, we're going to just play the first little bit of. This is obviously a total reaction to the fact that I was like, you have no friends. There's no way that you can understand this video other than to know that he uploaded this video for one reason and one reason only, and that is to make a statement to the world. J.Scott Garibay has a friend, has friends. He's got multiple friends. He's got friends that are around the world. He's got friends that give him stuff. So fuck you for saying that he doesn't have friends. That's my point. We're going to play just a minute of it because that's all we have to do. Before I do that, I'll come to the live chat. As we're wont to do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I wonder why he keeps on calling them lady women. The preferred terminology is lady boys, right? You know what I mean? I'm teasing. Lady women seems like a term you might use in a shady establishment in Bangkok, for clarity. I'm looking for those lady women. You know the ones. Depending on JSG's diagnosis, his diatribes could easily be a form of stimming behavior. He definitely seems to be like repeating things like, not an astronaut, an astronaut. You know what I mean? J.Scott Garibay will not stand for prejudice in YouTube movie reviews. He only wants prejudice in the politician he votes for. That monkey astronaut was a woman, all right, but trust me, she was no lady. You know what I mean? There you go. Hey, listen. You can judge her all you want to, okay? At the beginning of the space race, you had to be a bitch to survive. She did what she had to do. She left it all there in the launch pad. His unconventional language and aggressive tone is deviant behavior. Hey, listen. He brought his whole self and a flamethrower. Brave. A hero's got to have a what? Come on now. What's a hero without a flamethrower? Come on now. Okay? It was his chaotic goblin energy. Okay? Not since Ethan Klein has someone committed so far to bringing that chaotic goblin energy. Speaking of chaotic goblin energy, is J.Scott Garibay watching my video? I don't know. What do you think?
This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today I am sharing a gift from a friend. So I'm incredibly fortunate. A friend gifted this to me after they went to an international country. So I'm 55. I have never left the United States of America until I was it was about 2-3 years ago, and I just went to Nova Scotia. So I didn't even get out of the continental U.S., but I have a good friend who travels the world, and they brought me back this amazing gift from another country, which is really wonderful. I have a new hobby that I love, which is not looking things up on Google.
That's it. Not looking things up on Google. If you look things up on Google, if you solo play D&D, you're not cool. I wonder if he watches my videos. And if you look up things on Google, oh, gee, who looks up things on Google?
I don't know anything about this product except what I'm seeing on the cover. So this is Scissor 7. And
why don't you look things up on Google? You've got the thing right there. Why don't you look it up on Google? I looked it up on Google. It's a collectible card game. This is an anime that was on Netflix. Apparently, it's an anime from China, not from Japan. So I guess it's not technically an anime or whatever. I don't know, whatever, dude. And he's going to open up the booster box just to show us that he's got a friend who gave him a gift internationally.
It is a collectible card game from another country, right? And so this is, the international language it's in, and then there's Scissor 7, which is in American, which is great. And this says 30.
It's called English. It's not in American, dude. It's in English.
Pieces. I believe that means 30 packs, right? So I'm expecting there to be 30 packs of a collectible card game in here from an intellectual property I have absolutely no knowledge about. Now, the reason why I love doing this is I'm incredibly fortunate, and I have a global platform. And that global platform allows people like you who do know what this product is to let me know what it is. And so I that's the way I like to learn now. Like Googling stuff's for suckers.
Googling stuff is for suckers. Why Google something when you could just, on your global platform, just randomly do that? It's not like you're just taking the opportunity to tell people, I have a friend. It's a gift from a friend. And I'm open in that.
And I like to discover and explore through interaction with other human beings, which is
through interaction with other human beings. I do too. That's why I talk to people in the live chat.
Really nice. So let's go ahead.
And I also interact with live people in my life too. Like my friend Don, who I go to noise shows with, and I'm going to go to a noise show that he's DJing soon. It's an underground show where John Weiss is playing. Guy collaborated with a guy called Mearsbo on occasions and many other projects. Okay. And then later on in June, I'm going to be going to see a band called The Warning. They're an all-female band. My friend Armand is really into them. He's a huge The Warning fan. He can't get enough of them. Always going off of them. I'm going to go see them with Armand and Dave, my friend Dave. We're like this metal militia kind of crew. We got revived. My friend Dave also has a YouTube channel, but I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want to get, all flangled and intermixed. Whatever. That by mentioning those sort of little personal pieces of information and such, I do that to point out the fact that these people are real.
Go ahead and open this up and dig in and see exactly what is in this. So you're going to be getting
this collectible target. Anyway, that was moving on.
Hi friends, this is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons and the Matthew Mercer's Unjust Exile of Orion Akaba from Critical Role.
Yale King one. I wonder if this is exactly like the other video
on Jeff Bezos's YT-1300 Space Freighter All Lady Women Journey to Space.
Space freighter, fair use, fair use, fair use. It's not a space freighter. It was just a little bubble thing. It carried 13 people. It went on automatic pilot. It's not a space freighter. I don't know why you keep on calling it a space freighter.
And so the entire world got both of these situations wrong. And Scott Garibay is right on both of them. And I'm going to use them together to explain to you why routinely Scott Garibay is right and the world is wrong.
You've had, at this point, this is video number 6. So we're halfway through the videos of the day. We're just halfway through, and I've been here since what? How long is this video now that I've been making? 2 hours long? We can't keep on doing this. We can't keep on doing this. This is ridiculous. We gotta, you know what I mean? Right. A friend who buys them gifts, no less. Sure that ain't. Jokey Smurf special coming up. No, Scott, don't open it. It's a Satan summoning box. Don't Google that to verify. Listen, we got to keep on doing this. Anyway.
And you're like, wait a second,
right?
Scott, the world isn't stupid. Why are you always right and the world is wrong?
Why are
you always right and the issue is vantage. Our world is so bizarre now. If you're not standing in the right place, you can't see what's happening. It's like if you're the rest of the world standing on the ground. I'm elevated in the helicopter and I can see.
I'm wondering if this is if this is his technique, if he's figured out that I watch all the videos. So if he's like, oh, if I make 14 videos instead of 6 videos, I'll stymie the dude. He won't be able to cover them all. Or if he figures out oh, I'll be able to fuck up this guy's whole sleep schedule, he'll stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning and then I'll kill the guy, right?
What's happening, right? Wait a second, Scott. Why are you able to see everything and nobody else is? That's an excellent point, right? I'm going to tell you right now. So the reason why is, one, I'm an evangelical Christian. That's a big deal, right? That allows me to see a bunch of stuff that you guys do.
He could see stuff because he's an evangelical Christian. Dude, don't even get me started on the problems with that philosophy, right?
Don't see. That isn't helping on this one, but I need you to understand. Okay, we'll get there. Okay, follow me through. Why is Scott Garibay always right and the whole world is wrong? Okay, vantage. I'm able to see things that no one else is. So I'm
able to see things no one else is. This is why we watch you, bro. Hold on. I'm sorry. Give me 2 seconds. I need Cheetos. I'm not going to lie. I need Cheetos, bro. I'm not going hungry. I'm settling in, bro. I got Cheetos. It's going ASMR style, man. I got Cheetos, man. I don't give a shit. We're here.
I'm an evangelical Christian. So what, Scott? There's a bunch of them. First of all, there aren't that many of us, right? There's a bunch of people that you think are evangelicals who are not, okay? But I'm an actual real evangelical. Now I'm going to stay focused.
There are a bunch of evangelical Christians who you think are evangelical Christians. Before it was the Catholics that aren't saved qua they're Catholics. Now they're evangelical Christians who are not evangelical Christians. So you're able, oh man, you're taking the inventory of other evangelical Christians. This is going to get good. Right? I'm fucked. I'm fucked.
I'm not going to get into all that, but there aren't that many evangelical Christians, and there never will be. I know that you're never going to get saved, right? And the reason why is God said, like, it's a remnant. It's this extremely small group who are going to see the truth, right? And so, okay, so I'm an evangelical Christian, but then here's the kicker.
But you're in that group. But you're confident that you're in that group. Okay. And you know this because you know this.
Right? I'm the only person in the world who saw what Gary Gygax did. He created Dungeons and Dragons.
You're the only person in the world who saw what Gary Gygax did. Okay. FYI, in case you're curious, if your family took you to a mental hospital, to an emergency psych ward, they would bring you right in, bro. I'm not lying to you. I'm not being facetious. Dude, you're next level, man. You're certifiable.
Not as a game, but as a human improvement engine to transform identity and narrative. And I'm first out of the gate. I'm the only person in the world who understands today narrative and identity. Nobody else on the planet does. And the reason why is
whenever you start saying things like, I'm the only person in the world who understands X, Y, or Z, it's time to call the nurse.
Nobody sees what Gary accomplished. And here's the kicker. I am the only person on the planet that has both, right? That has the super secret understanding of what Gary Gygax accomplished and is an evangelical Christian, right? So
the only person who has the super secret understanding of what Gary Gygax did and is an evangelical Christian. You're going away soon, bro. It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
So I am sitting in LEO, right? I'm not in a helicopter. I'm in low Earth orbit. And I know that's a weird one to pick for today. I could probably pick it because of today's topic. But that's why Sky Garibay is always right and the rest of the world are a bunch of fools and never see the truth in my orbit. And actually, let's not say the truth. That's a bad way.
That's not a humble opinion. And you're driving again with your hands totally off the wheel. You're gonna get pulled over, bro.
Let's say I'm the only one who understands concrete reality. All right, okay.
You're the only one who understands concrete reality? Okay.
All right. So, yeah, okay, now we can go forward. All right, let's talk about Jeff Bezos, YT-1300, space freighter, all lady women journey, okay? So he sends up a bunch of women to space, right? And one of those women is Gayle King, right? Now, Gayle King, you mean the lady from CBS? Yes, that's right.
You don't even know that she's the bitch that is Oprah's best friend? You think of her as the person from ABC or whatever? Man, you don't know Jack. You don't know Gayle King? You don't know Jack.
Hey, what the heck is she? Why on earth does Gayle King belong in space, right? Well, the reason why Gayle King belongs in space is she is smarter than you and understands concrete reality. You know,
Gayle King understands concrete reality? How do you get there, honey? How did you get there? Remember, this guy started with, he literally said that he looked at Amanda Nguyen's Wikipedia page. The woman who worked at NASA, had all those achievements, was literally up for a Nobel Peace Prize, and said, I don't see why this person had any reason to go to space. And now is on Gayle King and says that I understand why this person should go to space because she understands concrete reality. God bless you, sir.
Oh, wait, Scott, are you kidding? That lady from CBS is going to get a seat to space? You could give that to any world leader. You could give that to the president of France. You could give it to the president of Germany, right? You could give that to the president of Canada. Now, first of all, I don't know who any of those people are.
You don't know who any of those people are. You don't know who the president of France is. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Macron has been the president of France since like 2017. You don't know who he is? Because you're not plugged in. It's not like Emmanuel Macron has been in the news recently. Oh, actually, he has. You don't know who the president of Canada is? Well, they're having an election like last night or tonight.
I could not tell you the president of France ever, right? Like I couldn't tell you the president of Germany. I couldn't tell you
Well, that's ridiculous.
President of Canada. Scott, shouldn't you know this? Absolutely not, because nothing they do will ever matter to me, right? And when
nothing they'll do will ever matter to you. Well, France is a nuclear power, so maybe something that they do will matter to you one day. Nah.
President scratches his butt, it matters to every single person in every single one of those nations, right? But ain't never nothing going to happen in Germany that's going to affect me. Nothing in Canada is.
Nothing in Germany will ever matter to you. Gee. I wonder if anyone ever said that in, I don't know, 1934.
Ever going to happen that's going to affect me. And nothing in France is ever going to affect me. I'm an American. Are you?
You're an American, right? You're an evangelical Christian who actually thinks that they're saved. You are a caricature. I love you, but you're just absolutely a caricature. And yes, things that happen in those countries will absolutely affect you. And by the way, it's so funny because thanks to the dude that you elected, that you helped elect, America's economy is so in the toilet, and China is now working with Europe, and NATO has to decide how they're going to solve the problem in Ukraine without the United States. They're figuring out how to work without us and rely not on us and not work with us as the linchpin of everything. The days of America being the one great big superpower are now over. So get used to that feeling being a past tense feeling. China, India, the future belongs to place in Europe. We're going to be an afterthought thanks to jackasses like you electing Donald Trump. Fast forwarding that experience. Superfly. Ugh.
You kidding me? Right? So Gayle King understood this, right? Gayle King didn't go like, oh, I don't know, should you put me on on this space flight? Couldn't you take the president of Germany or the president of Canada or the president?
They won't go up. They won't go up on a space tourist flight. You know why? Because they're important. If anything happened to them, it would be a big deal. These people are expendable. They went up for shits and giggles.
In France, she didn't say that. You know why? Because she knows what she is, right? She has self-awareness, okay? So what was her self-awareness? Her self-awareness was, she said, hey, I'm an American celebrity.
She's a Gayle King, American celebrity. I think Dr. Ken June is like a bigger American celebrity than Gayle King, with all due respect.
Trumps every world leader in the world. That trumps every single world leader. You could get the president of Canada, the president of Germany, and the president of France. You could pile their arms with gold and with aid for 1 million people each, and none of it would matter. I'm an American celebrity. Send me to space.
Yeah, that's what she thought. That's what she thought. J.Scott Garibay, you are priceless. You're worth your weight in gold. You have the intellectual insight of Curly from the Three Stooges. You have the self-awareness of my shoe. You have the depth of field of play of Pac-Man. And I love you for all these things. Every day is Christmas when I get a chance to watch you. You make me feel better about myself.
Like very proudly, right, displaced other world leaders, right, and said, "Of course, I'm an American president. I'm an American celebrity. I'm more important than 100 world leaders combined, even though I'm."
That's what she thought. That's a very Gayle King thing to say.
Let's see, yes, right, and she was right, right. Now, how does this link to Orion Akaba? Well, Orion Akaba was also incredibly self-aware. Why?
Orion Akaba was also very self-aware. These two thoughts are very well connected, totally synced, not at all disjointed, and flow perfectly well together.
Self-awareness is important. One, so it can get you seats on spaceships, right? That self-awareness gets you seats on spaceships.
Self-awareness gets you seats on spaceships. Okay. I follow.
What did Orion Akaba's self-awareness know, right? First of all, Orion Akaba, he knew when he went into Critical Role that he had a lot of personal problems. He was very aware that this was a risk for him and for, actually, I don't think he was very aware that this was a risk for everyone at the table, okay? All right. But
was he? And how you know this is because you met him, you knew him, you interviewed him? No, of course, this is all happening in your head. These are all assumptions and fantasies that you have in your head. God bless you. Take us on the trip.
accepted the call. And the reason why was he knew that his friends needed him, right? He knew that as chaotic, as reckless, as out there as his life was.
It's like, do you remember that thing in Half Baked when the guy Goat Boy from Saturday Night Live is like, he's doing that thing because with the one dog dies or whatever, and then he does that narrative like maybe Chompers knew that they were gonna make him fight Nibbles, and he was like, no, Nibbles is my brother, I'm not gonna do it. And they were like, no, you have to. And he was like, no, I don't want to.
They were at the beginning of something huge, and they needed a dramatic, dynamic person to put this show over the top, which is exactly what he did. And his work has never even remotely been equaled. I don't think there's a lot. I'm not sure if you took every live action play that exists and put them against Orion's 72 episodes, where he was
27
directly involved. Let's not even count the ones where he was robustly involved and actively involved, right? Just the direct one. I think his numbers would be higher than all other live action plays combined.
Okay, whatever you say, dude.
Combined. Okay. Ryan Cobb knew what he was doing. He was self-aware. He knew that Matthew Mercer, Marisha Ray, Taliesin Jaffe, Liam O'Brien, Ashley Johnson,
Jesus Christ Superstar,
Sam Riegel needed him.
William F. Buckley.
He knew that they needed him. And he knew that if he did his thing, all of them would be millionaires. I think he thought that he would be millionaires as well. He had no idea that they would betray him and exile him.
That they would betray him.
Which is an injustice that needs to be fixed right now. That's why Orion Cobb must be at the physical right hand honor of Matthew Mercer in Critical Role Alexandria, Season 4, Episode 1. Every single word you just heard in this video is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. Get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider like and subscribing and have a fetch millennium. Hi, friends. This is your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American politics.
Okay. Next one up. Here we go. Did he just lick his fingers? He can't be doing blow in his wife's car, could he? No. I may not like Jeff Bezos, but Amazon pays my kids really well. They could be paying them better. Enjoy them now before Secretary Brainworm takes them away. Over my dead body. The real answer is psychosis. Also, eat Cheetos with chopsticks. Now that's a dare. Art Carney, your newly elected Canadian Prime Minister. I can listen to his RPG bullshit all day long, but man, he pisses me off when he starts to talk politics. There you go. That's exactly how I feel like about Art Carney, the new Canadian Prime Minister. And away we go. We're only halfway through his videos. No, come on, I gotta go faster.
And we are specifically going to talk about Bill Maher's trip to the White House to have.
No, we're skipping this one. Fuck that shit.
Hi, friends. It's your pal Scott Garibay. Today we're going to talk about Matthew Mercer. We're going to talk about Orion Cobb, and we're going to talk about Jeff Bezos's YT 1300 space freighter, Lady Women Journey, and Aisha Bo, and how Aisha Bo is exactly like Orion Cobb in that the world last week said Aisha Bo is a zero, not a hero. Exactly the way Critical Role has told you for 10 years. Orion Cobb is a zero, not a hero. The world was completely wrong about Jeff Bezos' YT 1300 space freighter, Lady Women Journey. The world is completely wrong about Orion Cobb, about Matthew Mercer's exile of Orion Cobb. They thought it was just. I say it's unjust. On both of these situations, the world is wrong, and Scott Garibay is right. And I'm going to walk you there. I'm going to walk you. You're going to walk me. You're going to walk with me there. Let me take your hand. Here we go. All right, Aisha Bo. Who the heck is Aisha Bo? I have no idea.
Very true. Again, it's just the same fucking video. We might just have to skip this one too.
Scott, didn't you look her up? You're doing a whole video on her. Didn't you look her up on Wikipedia? I sure did not. And the reason why is that's the entire point of this discussion. A bunch of people were like, Aisha, who now? Like, they were like, and actually a bunch of people were like, hey, you can't just put lady women in space, right? And I'm like,
that's not, fuck this shit. We're moving on.
Hi, friends. It's your pal, Scott Garibay. And today we are going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Matthew Mercer. We're going to talk about Orion Cobb.
Katy
Perry. All right. So last week, Jeff Bezos created his YT 1300 space freighter and said, I'm going to fill it with women and send it to space, right? And this is a very good thing. We need women in space. We're way behind on those numbers. Mostly space has been dominated by men, and that's not good. And
again, what a fucking hypocrite. I love you, Scott, but you're such a fucking hypocrite. Yet last week, it was all American women are killing American men. American women are slamming American men. American men are done. They're cooked. They're cooked in the books. If you're an American man, you're done. You're doomed. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna crawl out into the cold night, dead air. No one loves you. Nobody wants you. You can't graduate college, right? You're done. You're fucked. And women have got it all. And now you're Mr. Pro-feminist. Women deserve to be in space, but just because they're women, whatever. It's such a dink move.
And not even checkbox men, just like, hey, I'm a highly privileged man who belongs to no marginalized groups. That's not good, right? So
I think people should go to space because they're qualified to go to space, and I don't think people should go to space as space tourists. I think people should go to space to do space shit.
What Jeff Bezos is doing was very good. However, it was a universally panned, right? And the reason we're talking today is the crowd gets it wrong a lot, and not most of the time, just at the critical points, right? This absolutely needed to be lauded from the mountains by everyone, and it was lauded by the mountains by no one. The whole world got this wrong, okay? And we're going to talk about this today. We're going to talk about it from the context of. So here's the question. Last week, everybody said Katy Perry is a zero. She's just a pop star, and she has no business in space, right? She's a zero. I say
she's got no business in space, dude. And meanwhile, they just went on a space cruise.
She's a hero, and the reason why is
she's not a fucking hero.
Point of bravery, okay?
It's repetitive. We're not doing this shit. She's not brave.
Hi, friends. It's your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk specifically about
Orion
Acaba and Matthew Mercer and Daggerheart. Okay. So Matthew Mercer exiled Orion Acaba from the Critical Role table in 2015, and then kept Orion Acaba's original character, his original art, and his original labor. And Matthew Mercer has leveraged that to make himself and everybody else and every other Critical Role co-founder extremely wealthy. They've used his.
Nope. They mentioned him 3 times post the 27 episodes that he was in. Basically, that was it. Not a real big deal.
Labor for 10 years, right? Yeah, we'll get into this. Okay, so all right. So the question today, what we're going to talk about today is Orion Acaba in Daggerheart? Okay, great.
Nope.
Question. Let's dig into this, right? I think the answer is yes. Okay, and the reason why is the stakes. Okay, so let's get into this. So if you don't know, Daggerheart is Critical Role's second tabletop role playing game, and it is highly anticipated. And the reason why is it's a direct competitor to Dungeons and Dragons. It is attempting to be a Dungeons and Dragons killer. It was literally announced in reaction to the OGL crisis of January 2023. Okay, so
well, it's debatable. So what happens is the OGL crisis happens, okay, and in order to get away from the OGL, a whole bunch of people started working on their own independent TTRPGs, and Daggerheart was one of them. Did they do it because of the OGL? Did they do it in response to the OGL? Were they already working on it? I don't know. It goes on. But the point is it's been a long time since that original OGL thing happened. And my point is this. My point is that the TTRPG, Stranger Things, 80s nostalgia wave has kind of come and gone. And I don't think TTRPGs are done, but I think that big nostalgia slam that made 5th edition happen, along with Stranger Things and the initial success of Critical Role, and that bolstered a lot of the whole TTRPG hype, I think that that's done and over. And so the people that are expecting, whether they're expecting Daggerheart to pop, all these people that were expecting this whole, there's going to be a D&D killer thing. The people that were hyping and getting all crazy about what's happening on BackerKit or what's happening on the various, crowdfunding things about Shadow Dark and whatever, acting like that's going to be something big. Look at those numbers. Like $1 million on Kickstarter is fucking nothing. Look at the numbers that Dungeons and Dragons actually makes and does. Shadow Dark is an indie game. Look at what happened to West End games after just 10 years and 10, 15 years of going around. Look what happens to most independent publishing houses. Look at what's invariably going to happen to Palladium Games when the main guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, dies. Probably pretty soon. Dude, Steve Jackson Games is in trouble. Steve Jackson Games is in trouble. This TTRPG thing. It's gonna be itch.io. It's gonna be drive-through RPG, print on demand. It's gonna be underground shit. There is not gonna be a D&D killer. There's not gonna be another. Look, when was the last time you heard anyone talking about Pathfinder? Oh, I know you dorks know Pathfinder. I know you dweebs in the scene know about it. There's nothing fucking happening in this. Nothing's going to happen. Give it up. Everything I predicted has come to pass. It's done. No one plays ball in the cup. You can buy ball in the cup. You can buy the little paddle with the rubber ball on a string, right? You can buy a hula hoop. You can buy a fucking frisbee. It's never going to be a big fucking deal. The kids don't play with action figures. The kids play with computer games. The kids do what they do. Even when you look what the kids are doing that do play TTRPGs, they're all doing shit online. They're all doing virtual die rolls. No one knows what the rules actually are because they all play in virtual tabletops where the rules are incorporated into the thing. And that's fucking, it's basically video games. It's highly anticipated by critters. How many fucking critters are? Do you think that critters are a growing phenomena? The high point of Critical Role has already come and gone. Those guys are getting old. It's been 10 years. The kids that started playing and started playing D&D and started watching Critical Role. Now it's like it's like the guys that switched from D&D to second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. That was a very small set. Most people that started playing Dungeons and Dragons in the 80s during the high point fucking stopped playing Dungeons and Dragons when they grew up. And the whole bunch of dorks and dweebs that stuck with it and made the transition to second D&D, those were the diehard, really, we're never going to get laid people. I love you guys.
So there's a lot of people a ton of Dungeons and Dragons haters really want Daggerheart to succeed. And I think it's also very important.
D&D haters associate Matt Mercer and Critical Role with D&D. They think it's woke, go broke. They hate WotC. They hate Matt Mercer. They hate Critical Role. They consider them all the same thing. They don't give a shit about Daggerheart. The Daggerheart playtest got panned by a lot of people. They thought the rules didn't make sense. They don't love it. The OSR guys love OSR shit. They don't love Critical Role. Whatever.
Important to understand that that Daggerheart is like Universal is to Disney, right? So if you don't know, a bunch of people are just absolutely furious with Disney, and they're giving their dollars to Universal, right?
Same fucking company.
The Prime Minister of England, Great Britain, just like literally announced a deal with Universal, like a country.
Did they? Did the Prime Minister of England announce a deal with Universal? I'm sorry, asshole. I love you, man. I'm sorry I called you an asshole. Let me look that up too. Sorry for the dead air. With Prime Minister of England. Today we closed the deal. Oh, no, I'm sorry, they did. Let me see. No. See? When I have to suck a dick, I'll suck a dick. Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The guy sounds like a Bond villain. Oh, here we go. Multi-billion-pound investment secured as Universal theme park and resort set to be built in Bedford, bringing thousands of jobs. A multi-billion-pound investment in a new Universal theme park and resort in Bedford has been agreed between Universal, the government, and the local council. in a move that represents a major vote of confidence in the UK economy and the future of partnerships between the UK and the US. Da-da-da. This is from the 9th of April, 2025, 19 days ago. Do you remember what happened prior to 19 days ago? Set to open in 2031. Deal firmly puts the UK on the global investment stage, delivering the government's plan for change, which will create growth and opportunities. Remember Euro Disney? Today we closed the deal on a multi-billion-pound investment that will see Bedford home to one of the biggest entertainment parks in Europe, firmly putting the country on the global stage. Okay. Universal theme park. There you go. Okay. There you go.
Country doing a deal with Universal. It's incredible. The reason why is Universal is opening up a theme park, and they're like, "Hey, we're just going to open up a theme park. Y'all's got to give us a whole bunch of tax exemptions, and we can break the law."
No. None of that.
Oh, it's like doing a whole bunch of. We want that same deal Disney got, right? Like we can murder people on this land, just bury them in there, and nobody has any.
Same deal Disney got. Disney didn't do any of that shit.
Questions, right? Like it's not that bad, but like, sorry, I was being sarcastic there. By the way, just so you're aware, if you're on the internet and you do sarcasm, you darn well better say I just did sarcasm because they don't play on the internet, right? So I was being sarcastic there, right? But they were like, it was a really big deal, right? So basically, Daggerheart,
and it happened a while ago, so I don't know if the tariffs or anything changed that, but we'll see.
Is becoming the Universal to Disney, right? Nobody cares about Daggerheart. Like nobody was like, oh, I'm excited about Daggerheart, right? They're like, I would like to put a stake in the heart of Dungeons and Dragons, and there are a ton of people who want to put a stake in the heart of Dungeons and Dragons. Why? Why do people want to put a stake in the heart of Dungeons and Dragons? Because every OSR and indie creator says the same thing. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons is absolute garbage. It's just a McDonald's of tabletop role playing game. It's just a cheeseburger, folks. Now, if you'll come over here, I have some filet mignon. Everybody's like, well, you got filet mignon over there, and those guys are serving a cheeseburger. Why are they selling you by a factor of 100? It's a real good question, right? Like by a multiple of 100. I always say factor, I should. By multiple of 100, right? So that's a good question, right? Like, and it makes people furious. They're like, every OSR and indie creator will assure you that their game is better, but their mouths seal up quick when you ask them, how come nobody likes your game, right?
It's not no one likes the game. It's just, what I mean. Dungeons and Dragons is available at Target and Walmart and all these big box stores and whatever, and all the OSRs are, been around for a million years, and there's 15 billion of them. And so they all compete against each other, and everyone buys them for whatever, and nobody plays them. Because nobody plays any of these games.
How come you can't drag people to play your game, right? It's a real good question, right? So, yeah, so that is...
Whoa! That plastic bag just attacked them.
Very interesting.
What just happened there? Hold on.
People to play your game, right? It's a real good question, right? So...
Yo! The ghost of the OSR just attacked him in the form of a plastic bag, dude. That's awesome.
Very interesting. All right.
I'm on Team Bag.
So you have that situation going on, right? And so now the question comes, is Orion Akaba in Daggerheart? Okay. Now we're almost there. Be patient. Why? Why on earth would of course, Scott, the answer is no. They're not going to put, Orion Akaba in Daggerheart. Like that doesn't make any sense, right? And the reason why is they're trying to defeat Dungeons and Dragons, and they're bringing out their own fantasy game, and like this, this isn't connected to Alexandria. They shouldn't be putting in Orion Akaba. They shouldn't, but they're highly incented to put Orion Akaba in the product. Let's talk about why. And I love this. Boy, I love what.
Meanwhile, it's good about to make no fucking sense, and I'll tell you what. Hold on, I got to blow my nose. Hold on. He's about to tell you, it's over the course of the next couple of videos, on this whole Daggerheart thing, he's going to go back and forth and basically tell you that they're not successful without Orion Akaba, so they have to break free from Orion Akaba, so they can't put Orion Akaba in Daggerheart, but they have to put him in Daggerheart, but they're not going to put him in Daggerheart because they have to break free from him, but he's in Daggerheart because they can't be successful without. It's make no sense.
What I'm about to tell you. I'm so in love with this information. Okay.
There's no information. It's just stuff you made up in your head, bro. I love you, man.
Here we go. Every single Critical Role product that Critical Role has ever made, sans Orion Akaba's original art, his original character, and his original labor, has failed utterly.
The only things that he's been in is the first 27 episodes. They weren't the most successful episodes. They started growing and peaked after he was on their show, after he left. So those are the facts. You're entitled to your own opinions, but you're not entitled to your own facts. J.Scott Garibay, I love you, but your thesis fails because they were more successful without him than they were with him. That's the reality of the situation. I don't know what else to tell you.
And not by a small margin, by a very large margin.
The complete opposite is true. Why are you this close to New Jersey? Are you coming near me? Why the fuck are you doing that? Why are you near exit 4? Why? Yo, bro, where are you going?
It has failed completely and utterly in every single possible way. All the metrics are down. They've done tons of these one-offs, right? Like where they did like a Deadlands type of game, and they've done Candela Obscura, and like they've just done tons and tons and tons of products that don't have that Tiberius Stormwind is not in as a living robust character or as a granite statue pointing to his living robust character, right? Like they're literally every single project that Critical Role has ever launched without that was sans Orion Akaba's work failed. And they just realized that in Candela Obscura. I mean, it was a virtual roundhouse to their face, right? Candela Obscura did not fail. Like, it didn't just fail. It failed catastrophically. I mean, so bad, it was very, very bad, right? It was a catastrophic failure. That sucker's still sitting on the FLGS shelf at my friendly local game shop. Now, good on Critical Role for getting it there, but it's a little embarrassing.
I'm seriously
okay,
looking at these
Actually, I think it's signs. It's not embarrassing to be sitting on an FLGS shop. I can say this. Candela Obscura did not do well. It was a massive failure. Okay. Sitting on a shelf at FLGS.
Is Xnard Prime? J.Scott? No,
this shop is not a sign of a failure. It's actually a sign of success. So I didn't want to clarify that. Okay. All right. Yeah. Man, my content is very complex. Like even I gotta pay attention, right? Okay. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Now, so that's why they would put him in Dagger.
Shit just got real, man. Hold on.
Okay. Now, is he there? Well, we'll know soon enough. Okay. So hopefully we'll know soon enough, right? So how will we know when Orion Akaba is or is not in Daggerheart? When I get my hands on the physical product, that's when we'll know, right? And the reason why is I am, in my humble opinion, I'm the foremost expert in the world on Orion Akaba. Let me address.
Okay, now things are gonna get weird. No, I gotta focus because he's on what he's saying. Hold on.
Some people came up in the comments. Scott, isn't Orion Akaba the expert on Orion Akaba? No, he is.
Isn't Orion Akaba the expert on Orion Akaba? Now listen to this.
It's not. None of us know ourselves. Are you kidding me? That's a joke.
None of us know ourselves. That's a joke. So this random stranger knows him better than he knows himself.
Right. Tolkien said that his time in World War I did not impact any of the material in Lord of the Rings. Are you kidding? You ridiculous fool? Of course it did. Right? We don't know ourselves. So Orion Akaba is certainly not the expert on Orion Akaba. Right? And yeah. So
it wasn't Tolkien in World War II? I can't remember.
And then also people are like, Scott, I think Super Geek Mike is the expert on Orion Akaba. Super Geek Mike, by the way, if you haven't watched Super Geek Mike's videos on Orion Akaba, you should. They are very, very good. But he did a Flash in the Pan a couple years ago and hasn't talked about it since. He's not dedicated to the subject, right? He's not even aware.
Yeah, he's not dedicated to the subject because there's nothing to say about it. Orion Akaba, it doesn't have a Wikipedia entry. Orion Akaba doesn't work that much. There's not a lot of information about Orion Akaba. All this stuff that you think is research, all this stuff you think you know, is just stuff that you came up with in your fucking head, bro.
Where he's not currently informed on the subject, so in my opinion, he doesn't count as an expert.
He's not informed on the subject because there's no subject on which to be informed, dude.
Right. Okay. So when I read it, I know everything that happened on. I would say I know the vast majority of what happened for Orion Akaba and Tiberius Stormwind. My knowledge on Tiberius Stormwind and Orion Akaba has been honed through the fires of the internet, right? And so if he's in there, I'll know it, right? So as soon as I can get
through the fires of the internet, what are you talking about?
The physical product, as soon as I can buy it off the shelf at my friendly local game shop, I will be able to answer this question. There are some.
We guarantee you'll be able to answer the question, and we'll watch you tell us where it is, and then I'm not going to buy it. I'll have to tell you, hey guys, if you take a look at the description box below, you'll see links to my Patreon and my PayPal and my Buy Me a Coffee. Hey folks, if you all start giving me $1 now, I might have enough money to buy Daggerheart when it comes out, so I'll be able to talk to J.Scott Garrett. Please don't make me waste like a Father's Day present or a birthday present on fucking Daggerheart. Please underwrite my ability to buy Daggerheart. You know what I mean? Because you know that he's going to talk about it, and you know I'm going to have to want to talk about it in response and be like, that's not what it says. When you say that Orion Akaba is the fucking Badger Wind fucking elf spirit nocturnal spell, that's not what it says. Like, I don't want to fucking waste my fucking money on it. I want to rather waste yours. So please join my Patreon and or, give me some money some other way so I don't have to fucking think that I did it. Please. Please.
Problems. One, it might arrive at my friendly local game shop and I'm not there on day one and it sells out. That could happen.
It's not going to sell out, bro. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Another one is they could go with the new Kelsey Dion. I hate half the friendly local game shops, and you guys don't get it. I only sell to precious little friendly game shops who smiled at me at a convention, right? Like, man, it still astounds me. The reason I finally learned why I could never buy, I still haven't been able to buy Shadow Dark on the shelf at a friendly local game shop. The reason why is Arcane Library, Kelsey Dion chose to cut.
Why don't you just go to Drive-Thru RPG and order a fucking copy online like everybody else? Why are you so adverse to buying shit online, dude? Why does it have to be at your friendly local game store where the fucking millionaire owns it?
The vast majority of friendly local game shops out of the loop for receiving physical copies of the book. That's astonishing. But I don't think it's ever been done on any OSR or any indie. That is why, right? And then she built super strong relationships with her precious few favorite FLGSs. I mean, talk about creating a niche in a niche. Holy cows, right? And so that might happen too. Like that, in order to make Daggerheart like super hot, they may artificially make it rare and scarce. So in that case, we'll get it. But if I can get my hands on that sucker, I'll be able to tell you within 48 hours if Orion Comet is in Daggerheart.
That's great. If you're saying it already in advance, that means you're not going to be willing to do real research. That means you're assuming the fact. We all know you're going to find a Ryan Akaba in there. You'll probably find a Ryan Akaba in the fucking peanuts in your stool, dude.
I am predicting that Ryan Akaba is in Daggerheart, right?
No shit. We didn't see that one coming.
I think that's very, very interesting. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion. You get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium. Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. And
oh my God, we're in like this view. And it's, check this out. Check this out. We're in a totally different view. I think he was going somewhere, because this is like, he's got his hair combed and he's got this black shirt on. I think this is like a sporty look. I wonder if he was going out to dinner or something.
And its major competitor, Daggerheart, that's coming up. So what's really interesting is Dungeons & Dragons got in trouble a while ago when they released some Dungeons & Dragons material about a month beforehand. And
so he's going to lie to us. So basically what happened is that he's going to say that this is like, when the guy...
some streamer bought it in a... some streamer bought it in an FLGS. And then when...
Nope. You know what happened? Some dude got his hands on early release Magic the Gathering cards, showed it online on YouTube. They sent the Pinkertons there. They made a big deal about it. Everyone covered it like Watsy did, saying so crazy, blah, blah, blah. The Pinkertons. They're these guys from they acted like the Pinkertons of today are like the Pinkertons that busted up, unions back in the day, breaking up people's heads. Everyone relied on the testimony of the one dude who actually did it. And the fact of the matter is that the guy had a fucking history of doing this stuff it wasn't from a friendly local game store. I'm not going to get into it. Role of law, all these fucking law tubers, all these fucking people associated with reporting shit on the TTRPG community are all a bunch of flagrant fucking view chasing douchebags. They're all fucking fricassee. They all fucking just do whatever they do to get fucking clicks, and to fucking slam Watsy and whatever. And it's all fucking bullshit. But whatever. The whole thing is it going to say that this is from Daggerheart did something or ridiculously similar, or not ridiculously similar. It got released early in Australia. They knew it was going to release early in Australia for months now. It's not a big fucking deal. We're skipping the video.
Hi friends, it's your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, Matthew Mercer's exile of Orion Akaba from the Critical Role table in 2015 and how he must return him to the Critical Role table in 2025, 1 decade later. There's some symmetry there. All right, today we're going to talk about the game that will most likely decide the fate of Orion Akaba, and that is Daggerheart. All right, so let's talk about Daggerheart. So why will Daggerheart decide the fate of Orion Akaba? So I have said previously that there is no path forward for Critical Role other than to return Orion Akaba to the right-hand chair, the honored right-hand physical chair.
Fair use. We're going to have to find a way to cover these videos quicker. I'm going to have to not watch all of the videos with you guys. I'm going to have to figure out a time to just basically cherry pick these things in advance and be like, this one, and just do like the choice nugs.
Of Matthew Mercer in Critical Role Alexandria, Season 4, Episode 1. Okay? Now,
but they're all choice nugs, right? I'm not going to lie. They're all choice nugs.
A second, Scott. Isn't there another path? Actually, there is. So let's talk about it. There is a path forward for Critical Role, okay? But it's an extremely narrow path with a very low percentage chance of occurring. But it is a possibility, and that is Daggerheart. So Daggerheart drops on May 20th, and it is my contention that this is why there has been no release date. If you Google right now, what is the release date for Critical Role Season 4, you'll find nothing. And the reason why is it hasn't been announced. The reason why is right now, Critical Role is moving toward its global release of Daggerheart, okay? Now, this is extremely important. How could that impact Orion Akaba? Well, if Critical Role comes back to the table of Critical Role Season 4, Critical Role Exandria, Season 4, Episode 1, without Orion Akaba, then all the lies they've been telling are false. They're not.
All the lies they've been telling are false. All the lies about being what? Supporters of the downtrodden minorities.
Actual allies. Then they get shown as liars. I don't believe.
Though everyone will see Orion Akaba's not there, so obviously these guys are liars about being supporters of minorities because the guy that hasn't been there for 10 years is still not there after 10 years. You know, the guy that we don't care about and or don't like because he sucked.
I don't think we know yet. We don't really know if Critical Role's progressiveness, if its support for marginalized groups is superficial.
You mean like your marginalized support for marginalized groups, like your support for women that you showed today regarding Blue Origin, even though yesterday or on Friday, you were like, women are killing men, American women, no ma'am.
But if they return to the Critical Role Exandria table without the one person who lacks the attributes they have, right, because they are in a marginalized group, right, and are like, we're going to continue 10 years of cruelty and 10 years of injustice, then they're called out. Then they will be called out as liars, right? And
I'm sure they'll be called out as liars. I'm sure that's what's going to happen, dude.
And everybody's like, wait a second, right? Like, you've been using this guy's work for 10 years, and he's been making you millionaires for years and years and years. And here was this, perfect opportunity. And the D&D community had a discussion, recognizing what you had done. The reality.
The D&D community had a discussion. Really? The D&D community had a discussion. Is that what you think happened? Oh, you think because you made these videos, the D&D community has been having a discussion? You are in another universe, a world unto yourself, and we love you.
Because you painted him as a villain 10 years ago, but the reality is you guys have been villains for 10 years. It's the opposite of what you said, right? Nothing you said was real, and it was a different picture than you were painting, right? But there is another path forward. What if Daggerheart works? What if Daggerheart flies off the shelves and cannot be bought anywhere, right? Unlike Candela Obscura. Candela Obscura did not fly off any shelves, right? What if Daggerheart blasts through its original print run, and Matthew Mercer's in a position where he's like, okay, we printed 250,000 copies of Daggerheart, and now and it's all gone, and they dropped on the shelves on Wednesday, and it's Friday, and they're all gone. We can print another 250 or even 500,000, and we can go for the throat of Dungeons and Dragons, right? At that point, Critical Role's next game, next campaign is not going to be Exandria, and then they have a safe path forward, right? Now, is that going to happen?
What?
There's a possibility of it. I actually think there's a possibility. There's a 5% possibility. 95% possibility. Daggerheart is another Calcin Jaffe turd, just like Candela Obscura, that is going to sit on the shelves and do nothing that no one cares about, right? There's a good possibility of it. And the reason why is the designer for Daggerheart is the same guy who designed Candela Obscura, which already has failed massively, absolutely massive.
Whatever, dude.
I should say Calcin Jaffe turd. I should say
Moving on.
Jaffe, loser product. That's more fair. Apologies for saying it was Calcin Jaffe turd. Right? Loser product.
Moving on.
Hi, friends. It's your pal, Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about the Matthew Mercer exile of Orion Akaba from the Critical Role, Vox Machina, Mighty Nine, Bell's Hell's table. And we're going to talk about it from the perspective of Daggerheart. All right, so let's talk about Daggerheart. Scott, what the heck does Daggerheart have to do with Orion Akaba? Everything. Daggerheart, in my humble opinion, was not created for any other reason than to free. Daggerheart is all about Orion Akaba. It serves no other purpose, okay? All right, let me explain how that's the case. So how is that the case? Why is Daggerheart about Orion Akaba? Well, it's very fascinating. Daggerheart is about Orion Akaba from the perspective of Critical Role has a huge problem. Nothing they have ever done without Orion Akaba has ever succeeded, ever, not once.
100% untrue. Their greatest success has been without Orion Akaba, not with Orion Akaba.
Not at the level. Orion Akaba only work that they use. Critical Role only succeeds when Orion Akaba is included. Okay, and so Orion.
100% not true. I'm not even doing this anymore. We're done.
Hi, friends. This is your pal Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to talk about Matthew Mercer's exile of Orion Akaba from.
I'm not doing this anymore. We're done. We've done it. It's 12:13. And this video's, we've been at this shit for 3 hours. Right? The world is completely wrong. Might as well go big with your delusions of grandeur. What the fuck? Now he's just doing left-hand turns. Dude is fucking with me. Still going in circles, though. CW, now you have cheesy fingers. No, I don't. They just appear to be cheesy. It's an illusion. The first African-American woman astronaut went to space in 1992. Just feels like an interesting fact since we're all listening to JSG's diatribes. Hey, there's nothing wrong with Pathfinder. I'm not saying there is. I'm just saying that it was the heady days of 2023, and the OGL crisis was broken by Linda Codega. And people forget Matthew Glicker, who didn't bother disclosing the fact that he was the largest third-party publisher of Pathfinder material until months after he actually broke the news the day before Linda Codega's article published. They were absolutely in it together. It was absolutely so obvious that I contend that it was Matt Mercer, Linda Codega, and Matthew Glicker, in the pool hall with Colonel Plum. You know what I mean? And they thought they were going to do that. They were going to bring down WotC and Pathfinder Second Edition, and of course, people forget that everyone freaked out when back in the day when all of a sudden 3.5 came out after third edition. It had only been around for a couple of years. But then, of course, the OGL crisis hits and they sell out all this Pathfinder Second Edition stuff. And then, just months after, they sell out all the Pathfinder Second Edition back stock. Of course, Matthew Glicker had no idea that essentially Pathfinder 2.5 was going to happen. They say, by the way, now that you guys all bought that Pathfinder Second Edition backstock after we hyped the OGL crisis, here's Pathfinder 2.5. But don't worry, because what they were all thinking was going to happen, that Pathfinder Second Edition was going to be the next Dungeons and Dragons. Didn't happen. At all. At all. And within 6-7 months, a year after that, literally, Glicker was on Roll for Combat saying, at my own home game, one of my best friends, one of my players has been in my game for years, didn't even know what the OGL crisis was. And it was like, yeah. And so many of those people that had gone all in on Pathfinder, fuck WotC, that DM Lair guy who was like, forget this, this, and all these people that had gone over with the rules lawyer to be the new generation of Pathfinder 2 affiliates and whatever, because they all thought that they were going to be the next, Genie D, pointy hat level YouTuber TTRPG players. Were left there. Like that old Warren Buffett line. When the tide goes out, you get to see who's wearing swim trunks and who's there butt ass naked. There's nothing wrong with Pathfinder other than the fact that nobody fucking plays it. Plenty of people play Pathfinder. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. And plenty of people play Shadow Dark. Yeah, right. Absolutely. And back in the day, plenty of people played Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing. If you consider the fact that nobody played Warhammer Fantasy Role Playing. What do you mean nobody played? I mean, look, dude. There were a ton of thrash metal bands, right? Metallica, Anthrax, Slayer, Megadeth, right? The big four. And of those bands, Metallica actually sold numbers and became a band, like a big band. And then falling down the rows, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax could barely fucking afford to stay alive after a while. The lead guitarist of Anthrax quit music to become a fucking, Swiss watch repair person. And then the second string bands like Exodus and fucking what, you know what I mean? Like Last Rocket and fucking Testament or whatever. I was wrong. I used to say that Pazio like didn't even have a home office, that they were all just, you know what I mean, like remote workers. No, that's not true. They have like, actually have like 15, 20 full-time employees. Maybe. Probably less than that. I'm probably overestimating that. But they're not long for this world. They're not going to last 10 fucking years by any fucking means. And they're not a public company, so they don't show their fucking numbers. But there's no way that they sell any fucking thing, really. You know what I mean? The virtual tabletop companies like stopped showing the fucking numbers of who played, what percentage of people played this, that, and the other thing, because it was embarrassing for people. The only game that ever fucking mattered in any real sense financially, that ever was on anybody's mind, that ever really counted, that ever made millions and millions of dollars has always ever been Dungeons and Dragons, and everything else is just fucking the bands that are also around. It's like a music scene where there's only one Beatles, and there was never a Beatles and a Rolling Stones and a Led Zeppelin. It's only the Beatles. It's like a thing where there's the Beatles, but there was no Rolling Stones, no Led Zeppelin. It was the Beatles, and then like, you know what I mean? The Bay City Rollers and, Styx in Kansas. And anyone who wants to argue against or call Cthulhu's fucking numbers. But they're big in Japan. Fuck you, they're big in Japan. You know how big Japan is? You know how many people are in Japan? This fucking shit's over, man. It is what it is, baby. Hey, and it just got me started on a riff. I hope it didn't sound like I was like fighting with you, Renee. I love you, man. I love you, baby. Hadrian72, he's got a weird obsession with dominance and submission. They're not RPGs to him. They're D&D competitors, right? There you go. Hey, if my nerdy friends didn't move, I would still be playing D&D. There you go, baby. I got it. Like, people just want to make the games they want to make. Not everybody who spools up a Kickstarter is trying to kill D&D. No, I agree. You know what I mean? And also that D&D killer thing was like, but that was what people were thinking back in the day. There's a Universal theme park being built north of London. I think that's what he's talking about. Scott Garibay learns about tax increment financing. Oh my God, where did we get that? I would love to hear a take on that. It's all going to be Harry Potter bullshit. Turf World. There you go. No doubt Harry Potter will be the derivative corporate bait. They don't want to know about Harry Potter there, right? That's like, you know what I mean? If Candela Obscura is on the shelf of his FLGS, it's a sign that the game failed. If Shadow Dark is not on the shelf of his FLGS, it's a sign that it's failing. Absolutely. You can't win with this guy, right? Daggerheart, the movie with Sean Connery, it's a computer-generated dagger. J. Slick Garibay. JSG is probably having dinner with the MIL. Dude was glitching out at that turn. I just hope he's not coming to Jersey. This proves I have no life. No, that's not true. I have no life. I watched these videos twice today. Can't believe I'm saying this, but he should have kept the cap. I know, right? I just checked my FLGS and they've got 2 copies of Shadow Dark on their shelves right now, and I'm still not buying it. There you go. Why buy it? Everybody knows that the only reason that the dudes, it's a fucking thirst trap. Why? It's marketing and a thirst trap. People like it because it says Shadow Dark. It's like Dark Souls, and it's all marketing. It's the fact that it was made by a chick in the OSR. That's it. It's all these dudes who are like, maybe she'll date me. She's not going to date you. She's a lesbian. Oh my God, dudes. What the way? Yeah, this is why, dude. It's so innovative. No, what the fuck are you talking about? Innovative. We've been doing this TTRPG shit for fucking 50 fucking years. How many ways can you roll a dice? You're rolling the dice, you're adding modifiers. Do you roll under or roll over? Do you succeed or you fail based on that? It's got these innovative mechanics about the light going out, and then the light goes out, and nobody has dark vision. And nobody fucking is going to stick to those rules anyway, because those rules will be complicated to fucking do. Now it's dark. Oh, shit. But you're all sitting in a fucking lit room. So how scary is that? 7 of Cups. Too many choices, and that's what's going to kill us in the end, right? That's what got us in the end. Everybody's doing it, so why don't we? Oh, we took the SRDS and used it to make a BX clone, but this one is you're in medieval times. It's a low magic, prehistoric cave person setting. Oh. It's a low fantasy space adventure. Think Aliens, but with a slight twist of magical whimsy a la Doctor Who. And you get all that in 50 pages? Yeah, because it's rules light. The magic happens in your imagination. Theater of the mind it is. Ah. This one is roll over. 2d6 it is. You might find the modifiers are slightly skewed. A la the original OD&D it is. Fuck your mother. This is the original. This is the OG. This is the OG Rider Waite. 7 of Cups, too many choices. Leave us beguiled. What are we going to play tonight, fellas? Fellas, I fancy a one-shot of 24XX. Sacrifice a piece of armor to turn that disadvantage into a minor wound. And we'll all be going on a magical journey. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum. Blue Origin. To the center of your butt. I wanna be a magical man on a space adventure. TTRPG. Wouldn't it be great if it all was done by computers? Oh, wait. Gee, do you think in the future the kids will still be playing TTRPGs? If they want to waste their time, they will be. They won't be. They'll remember this. They'll do it every once in a while to be like, this is how they did it back in the day. Why'd they stop, did they? Why'd they stop? Well, why would you do it this way? If the computer could just do it for you and have all the colors and things, do it all for themselves. I get it. I get it. Not all change is progress, but oftentimes it is. I love these books. I love this activity. But I completely and totally understand why it's probably going the way of the dodo. The electric car supersedes and takes over from the Cobra SS. The Model T, people still build Model Ts. They get kits and they build them and they do them and they fabricate them. They still do that. Maintain them. Bring them to car shows. Drive them around the little zoos and stuff for the kids to see. It's a Model T Ford. Oh, look at that. It's a Model T Ford. Crank it. Look at that. You got to crank it, kids. Guy will come up dressed like a guy from the days of the Model T Ford and whatever. But not taking over. It's just a fragment of history. It's beautiful and it's wonderful, but it may not be long for this world. But what the fuck do I know? I'm just a guy like J.Scott Garibay. Thinks that he's right, and so is everybody else. I love you, I love you, I love you. If nobody told they loved you today, somebody just did that. Somebody's Benjamin. And I'll see you real soon. After J.Scott Garibay uploads 28 videos tomorrow, I guarantee you he's going to do that. I guarantee he's going to do that. This is a wild one. I love you. Won't have too many choices when the store shelves are empty. Thanks, Trump. I blame J.Scott Garibay. I'm going to hold him personally responsible just for shits and giggles to see how he responds. I wonder what he'll respond to with this video. Remember, folks, if he watches all of my videos, that means he's up right now. Scott, a kid, could be here right now. I love you all. Pray for me.